Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin is a small village with a long history in auto racing. Started on the streets around the village in the early 1950s, and the tradition continues today at the permanent circuit called Road America, where on a beautiful sunny Saturday, Wisconsin afternoon, thousands of fans have come through the gates. They've enjoyed the track walk, maybe doing a little racing of their own, and now trying to find the best spot they can alongside this track to see NASCAR Nationwide Series best take on an excellent field of road course ringers over the course of 200 miles. ESPN welcomes you to our exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Today, the fourth ever trip by the NASCAR Nationwide Series to Road America. 4 miles, 14 turns, quite the challenge for the drivers and teams here in Wisconsin this afternoon. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Wisconsin. Alan Bestwick, joined by the Hall of Famer Rusty Wallace, a 6-time winner on road courses in his driving career, and champion crew chief Andy Petrie. And really, in both the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and Nationwide Series, these road course races have become the new action events.
They really have, Alan. They got really tense late in the race, especially. A lot of bumping and banging and beating. You see them right here. Here's getting down into turn 5. They're all looking for room. They're crashing, they're banging. We're going to see a lot of this stuff today.
Yeah, and before the double file restarts, it used to get strung out quickly on these road courses, but not anymore. They double file them up, and the action is just so intense. These have been some of the most action-filled races on the circuit.
If you like your racing with fender banging, maybe even some finger pointing and flared up tempers, stay tuned. You're going to see it here at Road America this afternoon in all likelihood, especially when we get down to the frantic final laps. Had some weather playing havoc with the weekend earlier. The skies have cleared. It is beautiful now, sunny skies, and time to go trackside, as these fans will all rise to their feet and the drivers and teams form up as well, and we join in today's opening ceremony.
Race fans, please rise and remove your hats as we honor America. To present our nation's colors, the 102nd Military Police Company Army Reserve from Fond du Lac. And for today's invocation, here's Lonnie Klaus with Motor Racing Outreach.
Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the privilege to be here at this beautiful venue here at Road America. Lord, we give thanks for those men and women that have fought and are currently fighting to protect the freedoms that we hold so dearly. And Lord, today we ask for your protection upon this event. May you be honored and glorified. We'll give you the thanks, and we pray all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Christy Sadek.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
There'll be a lot of familiar faces in today's field here at Road America. Some you're not as familiar with, but all will be having their hands full on this very difficult course throughout the run of the afternoon. Drivers buckling in, the command to start engines, and that wild green flag charge down into turn 1 is coming up next from Wisconsin. 200 miles, we're down to the final moments before the command to start engines. A great field of drivers assembled to go at it on this 14-turn course, including a lot of familiar faces. But now let's take a moment and spotlight some of the different people you'll see today, not normally found most weeks in the Nationwide Series. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Alan. Although it's been 5 years since A.J. Allmendinger raced in a NASCAR Nationwide car and never on a road course, he somehow managed to be among the fastest cars in practice yesterday, and this morning put his Penske Ford on the pole. And you couple that with the fact that the last time he was here back in 2006, he won the Champ Car race at Road America. That's why many consider the Dinger to be the ringer here today. Here's Mike Massaro.
Doc, Owen Kelly has made just one career Nationwide Series start. That came here at Road America back in 2010. But make no mistake about it, the driver from down under is anything but an underdog. After all, this Australian is a road course ace. He starts on the front row, and by the way, he drives the car that has dominated in 2013 and has already been to victory lane 6 times. Dave Burns?
For being such a nice guy, Max Pappas sure has a foreboding nickname. And yet yesterday, Mad Max was exactly that after practice. This car that took him to 4th place last year would not turn the slow corners of Road America. But overnight changes he told me he liked a lot in qualifying, and he'll start 10th in his quest to win in NASCAR. Shannon Spake?
Well, driving the number 5 car for Junior Motorsports today is 50-year-old Johnny O'Connell. O'Connell's road course resume looks something like this. He's a 3-time American Le Mans champion. He's won the 12 Hours of Sebring 8 different times, and he won the 2001 24 Hours at Daytona. He's also raced here at Road America in at least 6 different series. So why isn't he a shoo-in for the victory? Well, it's the X factor. It's just his 4th day ever in a stock car. The 50-year-old rookie rolls off 12th. Alan?
Shannon, thanks. Last moment before they fire him up, so just some of the names who are here to take on the series regulars, like championship leader Regan Smith, Sam Hornish Jr., and more, as they buckle aboard and get ready to go here on this most difficult of tracks. Really is going to be a big, challenging day for these drivers.
It's going to be a challenging day, Alan. We talked about the wrecks late in the race, the high intensity that's going to kick up. Plus, there's 14 corners here, and they're all hard to negotiate. They really are.
Be a big challenge for the crew chiefs as well. Talk more about strategy in just a moment. First, time to go trackside as they finish fastening up the safety equipment and get the command to get this race underway.
It's time, race fans. Here to deliver the command, the Grand Marshal of the Johnsonville Sausage 200, presented by Menards. Johnsonville Sausage Plant Coordinator, Brian Klepke.
Drivers, start your engines!
I like for you guys when you light it up. So first I'll start it up, shut it off, but I will do the best I can for you on that. It's a pretty long way down there for
me. Ready to go at Road America with the 4th race here at this historic Wisconsin track by the NASCAR Nationwide Series. We just saw Italy versus Brazil on the pitch. Max Pappas from Italy, we talked about just a minute ago, and our ESPN in-race reporter for the day is from Brazil. Nelson Piquet Jr. is the defending winner of this race. A year ago, he started on pole, got shuffled back a little bit by strategy, but then charged back to the front at the end and scored a huge victory here at Road America. Piquet talks to us on the pace laps next.
Well, it used to be so cut and dry. Short tracks were rock and roll, and road courses, they were classical music. Pretty to look at, nice to sleep to. No one's sleeping on road courses now. Welcome to the new short track, where you can get punched with a left and right. Ooh.
I like that line. Punch for the left and right.
It's going to happen.
Probably see some of it today here at Road America as the NASCAR Nationwide Series gets set to go racing. Cars beginning to roll from their place along the grid along the front straightaway to begin the paraded pace laps before the green flag waves. The track is certainly going to be one of the stars of the race today. 4 miles around, 14 turns on this racetrack, an awful lot of things for a driver to deal with in each and every lap. Let's take a look around, Rusty, and focus on the places to pass, which also serve as the best places to get in trouble.
Absolutely. First one is turn 1, about over 170 miles per hour, getting down into turn 1 very fast. A lot of guys try to outbrake others getting into turn 1. A lot of times, Alan, you get in too hot, that leads to big problems and big crashes in turn 1.
And that's one of the things about road course racing is high braking turns are opportunities to pass, but it's also a place to make mistakes. We're going to see a lot of mistakes in turn 5. The left-hander, there's a lot of runoff area there, but the cars really do get bottled up in that corner.
There's a big downhill run into that corner also. The kink. Not really a turn, but a good place to get in trouble.
It sure is. Take a look at this. These guys getting really hot, and I get off track. Now, this is a place where you can make up a lot of speed if you can carry the throttle really hard, and sometimes leads into big problems.
Down through what's called Kettle Bottoms to Canada Corner.
Canada Corner can be a place and a source of a stack-up after restarts when all the cars are bunched up. When there's trouble up front, it usually filters all the way back.
And then that massive 110-foot elevation climb up the front stretch to start-finish. Now, pit road is also an interesting spot here. It's huge.
Yeah, it's so long, and you have to run 30 or 40 miles an hour on this pit road from the beginning, about 830 feet till you get to the first pit box. And then you have all the pit stalls, and then you have to make your pit stop. So if you have to make an unscheduled move down pit road, it can cost you dearly. If you make a miscue on a pit stop or make a penalty, pass-through penalty, it can really cost you.
The pit road is that long, and that 16 seconds from the beginning of pit road speed to that spot because they pass under a bridge coming to pit road. Done that way by NASCAR for safety. Then you get to the beginning of the 40 pit stalls, make your stop, and by the time you get back out on the racetrack, you spent over a minute.
Yeah, and that's why you want to spend the least amount of time on this pit road as you can.
That's a long pit stop. We make a pit stop over Bristol about 13, 14 seconds. We're on pit road here for a long, long time, and there's a lot of room to really get trouble in and speed and get busted.
And if you get busted, you got to come back down and do that pass-through again. All at that slow 40 miles an hour. Don't let it happen. So while these drivers get used to doing something different than the normal weekly fare today, that is the normal weekly fare turning left and staying in high gear, they're going to turn right and shift gears today. A lot of the pit crews have to do some different things as well. First, they pit from the opposite side of the car, and as our ESPN over-the-wall reporter today, Mark Hollywood Armstrong tells us, Hollywood, you're working with some different people than you normally would this week, like a lot of the other crews are.
A lot of the teams here are working with different guys, maybe some guys they've never even worked with before. Some of the teams did bring their regular crews out here, but certainly we're not one of them. And if you'd have seen some of our practices earlier in the weeks, well, you might have thought we're not going to be one of the teams coming here neither. But after a few stops and getting our rhythm of doing a backwards pit stop, we knocked off some pretty good stops. And we're certainly ready to knock off some of those stops here today for the Dollar General Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing and Brian Vickers right here at Road America.
Hollywood changing front tires for Brian Vickers today. Have a great race, Hollywood. He's also doing double duty this weekend. After wrapping up here at Road America, he's headed to Sonoma to go pit a car on Sunday out in the NASCAR Sprint Cup race on the West Coast. Now, strategy will be a big, big factor today. For more on that, to Pit Road and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Alan. Our Kawasaki keys to the race involve road course pit strategy. Crew chiefs have a difficult decision to make. You can make it a two-stop race or a three-stop race. Now, a two-stop race is a big gamble, folks. These cars get 16 to 18 laps on a tank of fuel. It's a 50-lap race with a few laps of caution. You can make it to the checkered flag, but if it's a green-white checkered, you're out of gas. Now, a three-stop race means you're going to pit as early as lap 2 or 3, 4, somewhere early on. You'll have plenty of gas, but you're mired back in traffic because you pitted early. It's a gamble for a decision made by a crew chief. Which way do you go? Some of the guys in points may come in early. The guys wanting to win the race and don't worry about points, they're going to try to make it a two-stop race and hope for some yellow flag laps. Alan?
Right on that knife's edge of the two-stop, three-stop. Going to be a fascinating day on pit road.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that calculation either. 4 miles around this racetrack is a plenty opportunity to run out of fuel.
So the defending winner of this race is our ESPN in-race reporter on the day, Nelson Piquet Jr. Obviously, his background is in circuit racing, road racing, but coming to NASCAR first a couple of years ago in the Truck Series, learning the ovals. You see his record on road courses is stellar. He got his best oval finish of the season last week in Michigan, and now comes to the road course where confidence must be sky high. Let's dial him up.
Nelson Piquet Jr., Rusty Wallace at the booth. You got us.
I got you guys.
Hey, buddy, talked to a lot of drivers yesterday, and they were really complaining about all the rain and maybe some lack of practice time out there. Now, we know that you have got the car you won with last year, but from one year to another, it's a pretty big-time difference. You got that baby tuned up. Did you get enough time to get it where you want it?
Well, I think the biggest difference is the tire change from last year to this year. I think the tire, they brought up a softer tire and a tire a bit more, less forgiving. So I think we're still working on it. Still during the race, we're going to have to work a little bit. I don't think we don't seem to be that much comfortable as we were last year. I think last year we were, I mean, the way we arrived, we didn't even have to change much the car. This year, since VIR, the test, we played around with the car. Over here, we did a few things. Obviously, it rained, so we didn't have that much time. But I think the important thing in the race is just keep your nose clean and, you know, don't get yourself in any trouble too soon and save fuel like we're doing right now. Because anything can happen this race, so just keep safe. I think all of these cars that are running up front are going to have a good shot of winning this race.
Okay, we've got an ESPN mailbag question that comes from Johnny in Hendersonville, North Carolina. The question is, after winning the race a year ago and posting a top 10 last week, what's your confidence level going into today's race?
I think I've been working the whole year, you know, trying to keep my head up, just with the results we've been having. But I think the most important is I want to get this result for my sponsors, especially for my team, which have been working so hard this year to, you know, try to give me the best equipment possible. But for sure, you know, coming back to a race which you won before, it gives you a little bit more of you know, okay, I know what I'm doing, and let's be fine. Just keeps my head a bit cooler, just because I know what can happen, what the scenarios can be in this race, and I'm sure my confidence it is much higher over here than any other track.
Okay, Nelson, thanks for talking to us. Now, Andy Petrie's going to speak to your crew chief, Chris Carrier.
Okay, buddies, take care. Speak to you guys later.
Hey, Chris, Andy Petrie in the booth. We know that the pressure point today is going to be the crew chief position in calling a good race because this road course strategy is different. Tell me what your strategy is going to be today.
Well, first of all, Andy, my strategy is to make sure I have nationwide insurance as often as possible. That's a great thing always. But here today, Nelson mentioned about the tire. It falls off a little bit quicker. I think the tire longevity and the speed of the car due to what the tire is capable of is going to be a lot bigger factor than what we've seen really in all the road races last year. So we're looking at probably being on pit road somewhere around lap 10. Probably every time we come down pit road, we're going to be taking 4 tires. Possible exception of maybe if we've run a couple or 3 laps, we might just get a gas and go. I think it's going to be a little different than basic road course 101 strategy. I think you're going to see more guys want to put fresh Goodyear rubber on these cars, try to make them drive better. It's kind of hot and muggy today up here in Wisconsin. Had an ARCA race before. I think the track's going to be a little bit slick, slippery. It's going to be a little test.
Okay, Chris, I hope you get that strategy right. That's some good insight. Thanks for talking to us, buddy.
While they work the rest of the pace laps, take a quick break, come back for the start at Road America and the big charge to turn 1. The Johnsonville Sausage 200 about to start for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Road America. Got some great onboard views for you today to carry you through the race. Regan Smith has our nationwide insurance camera. Sam Hornish with the Ford EcoBoost on board. Michael McDowell, the Toyota camera. AJ Allmendinger, the Goodyear on board. Nelson Piquet Jr. with our Kawasaki camera. Justin Allgaier, the Pep Boys on board. Max Pappas with the Chevy on board. And Travis Pastrana has our Scott's camera. You'll see some great shots from those cars throughout the day. 50 laps, 200 miles the distance. We are going green at Road America.
Green, green, green.
Allmendinger leads the turn 5. McDowell to your right, trying to grab a spot. In the 18 car, under braking, Parker Kligerman is in the 77.
And Alan, one of the toughest parts of the race was that start of that race, getting down to the turn 1. I know that always made me nervous personally, and these guys did a good job getting through that. I didn't see any contact at all.
One to watch today, that white, black, and blue Ford, 16 of Billy Johnson.
See Sam Hornish getting off the racetrack just a little bit, but stays on.
54, Owen Kelly started second, lost a couple of spots on the start. Trying to wrestle some of it back from Kligerman.
Alan, this corner right here, big right-hander, real flat. I tested here in a car a couple years ago. A lot of slipping and sliding, but coming up right now is the kink. That's the corner that I'm always worried about. You've got to hustle it hard, and this one you can get off course real easy. Right there, we see a lot of guys get off course a lot today. They're looking good right now.
It's so important to carry speed off of that corner and through that kink that you'll see guys really risk it right there.
PK, Pappas, and Vickers. 30, 33, and 20. Racing for 9th, 10th, and 11th.
I'm sorry, Allgaier using a lot of that runoff area on the other side of the curve.
There is so much speed at this racetrack right here in turn 14. If you can get in the corner and get that right front tire really hooked up so the car turns good, Andy, you can really rock it up this hill.
First move to pit road on lap 1. Trevor Bayne coming in.
And that's a planned stop.
If you know you can't do it in 2 pit stops, you want to make this stop as soon as you can and get it out of the way.
Alex Bowman following him in the 99. And about 4 or 5 others. Mike.
And Chris Rice counting Alex Bowman down to his pit stall. The team going over the wall. An early stop here on lap 2. A splash of gas. They top it off, and he's away, Doc.
And they topped off Trevor Bayne, as you guys said, a scheduled stop. They want Trevor back in traffic, back in the middle of the pack to save the brakes, save the tires, and save the fenders. They still believe they can make their last stop with 19 laps to go and be there to win it. Guys?
Yeah, one of the things to make that early stop, it puts you out of that traffic and in some cleaner air, and Trevor Bayne will get that because he's the first one off pit road. There's a ton of cars that came in behind him, though, that'll be racing each other.
Yeah, he will be in some traffic, I mean, even if he pitted this early. But, I mean, this is a 4-mile racetrack. You're not going to lose a lap on a pit stop. And I've always hated pitting early like this, Andy. I feel like I get myself out of sync as a driver, but the crew chiefs calculated this. This is what they want to do. But you see, not everybody's doing that.
But if you know you can't make it, you can make that pit stop. You want to make it as early as you can, because an early caution comes out right now. They'll race all of that time they lost. They can catch right back up to the field because, like you say, you don't lose a lap when you pit here.
The pressure point right now, second place. You see Allmendinger with about 5 car lengths on McDowell in second. That's Billy Johnson, the young California road racer. Drives for Roush Racing in the Grand Am Rolex Series. Driving here this weekend. First of a couple of times we'll see him this year. And he was awfully fast in practice.
Yeah, it's a name we don't hear much in the Nationwide Series, but he is a great road racer, like you said, or else Jack Roush would not have put this guy in this car. I expect to see him up front all day long. Now, the question is going to be, when he comes down pit road, do they have the good enough pit crew to keep him up front?
He moves over to the right. Kind of gets out of the mirror. Michael McDowell doesn't know if he's there or not.
And that's one thing you can do. You can sneak to the right out of his view and kind of trick the guy into getting out of the gas early, getting on the brake, because he thinks you're inside, but you're really not inside. It's just no road course trick right there.
Now the big downhill run to turn 5.
See, gets out of his view again. Michael's just kind of glancing up in the mirror going, I don't know if he's there or not.
It's pretty obvious, though, that Billy Johnson has a little faster race car than Michael McDowell at this point.
I'd say he's going to stay pressuring him, Andy. Stay just putting the pressure on him, and Michael will probably go, hey, I've had enough of this. I don't want to tear my own car up or risk getting spun out when he dive bombs me on the inside trying to get around me. You know, there's one thing to remember, too. The brakes are really good on these cars right now. The tires are really good on them. And as that stuff starts going away, then the wheel hopping starts happening, the slipping and sliding starts happening, and the handling of these cars on a road course really go from really good to really bad in probably about 15 to 20 laps you know, not about 10 laps, I'd say. About 10 laps in, that's when they start going away.
And that's where Allmendinger has a real advantage. He's got enough lead that he doesn't have to really dive bomb the corners to protect his position. He can protect his race car, save race car for the end. That's why qualifying up front is so important in road courses.
Michael McDowell led at the scheduled distance of this Road America race in 2011, but the race went overtime, got knocked out of the way, wound up finishing 12th in that one. Says it's what I've looked forward to all year. These few races I get with Joe Gibbs Racing and Road America is obviously my favorite.
He does such a good job, too. He's really smooth. You don't see him. He's not one of these real flashy road racers that you see carrying the wheels, running off the racetrack, making mistakes. He's just very solid and fast. So he's now pulling a little bit of a gap on Johnson.
Now, one other story to talk about is Elliott Sadler, who has had some great difficulties so far this weekend. During practice on Friday, the engine was over-revved as Sadler had difficulty adjusting to a type of transmission that Joe Gibbs Racing uses that he wasn't as familiar with and didn't get a chance to test with. Well, it happened again during qualifying today. So they changed the transmission, changed the car around to try and better suit Sadler. He started at the back, Dave. He's already made one pit stop.
It is a transmission he's familiar with, Alan, and interestingly, NASCAR did not allow them when they were changing the motor to refuel the race car. So between the aborted qualifying session and the inability to refuel, Chris Gale told me that they wanted to go with a 3-stop strategy today. So far, Elliott's comfortable with the car. And Chris jokingly said, I just hope we make more than 2 laps. It's been a long weekend so far.
Yeah, that's the thing. They didn't run the wet practice.
Whoa.
Sorry. Some action there, Al.
Oh, McDowell is stopped.
No.
Yellow flag. Second place running car is stopped at turn 6.
Looks like it's going again. The Gibbs car is
in the battery, alternator, something like that.
Had some problems in practice with Elliott, and now they're having this. It's like an electrical issue.
Yeah, see, it's done right now. It's not even running.
What are they saying, Shannon?
Well, about 60 seconds ago, Michael McDowell came on the radio and said, engine's dead. And then crew chief came over and said, what's going on? He said, it just won't run. So that's basically the issue right now. They're kind of going back and forth, trying to diagnose exactly what the issue is.
And the team, no doubt, watching those pictures. There's Matt Lucas, the crew chief.
Yeah, I mean, the thing here is that they need to get it back to pit road. If it's not running at all, they'll have to get some assistance and for sure lose a lap.
So he's running second. This is turn 5.
Yeah, just quit.
It's got the look where it lost fuel pressure. It's kind of got a fuel pressure look to me. Because he's spinning the motor over. It's got electric to the engine to spin the engine over, but it just won't light.
See Michael continuing to try and recycle all the electronics.
Yeah, that switch on the right is actually the ground switch. It completely disconnects the electrical, and he's trying to cycle it back and forth.
Remember that strategy thing you were talking about now, about if the caution comes out, you regain all that lost ground?
Yeah, all these guys had pitted under green early, get all of that back. And if they stay on the racetrack, they'll start in front of all these cars that are pitting here under this caution flag, so they can steal some track position. So they can see how that works a little bit.
Kligerman, Allgaier, Vickers, and a few more further back in the field going to make pit stops here, but the top 3 stay on the racetrack. Allmendinger, Johnson, and Kelly. Mike?
And Parker Kligerman coming down pit road. He'll hit his stall. He's saying he's loose on throttle, needs more drive off. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. Go to work on that race car. Left side first before they go to the right side for a 4-tire change on the 77. Further back, you'll find the 20 car, Brian Vickers. He had some electrical problems earlier in the weekend. They sorted those things out. And so far, no indications that they have reemerged. He's pretty happy with the race car thus far. And he's pinned in, though, on pit road. Finally pulls away, Alan.
So, track position exchange there.
And now you see why it's so important to try to pit under green here. All these cars coming off pit road are going to start behind Elliott Sadler, Trevor Bayne, a lot of the cars that made that early green flag stop.
So Brian Vickers has been on and off pit road for the first time. Our over-the-wall camera carried by Mark Hollywood Armstrong, changing the front tires.
Boys,
on that
let's knock this
car.
one out here.
Come on!
Coming to the restart here at Road America, A.J. Allmendinger is the leader of today's Johnsonville Sausage 200. Couple of stories to tie up. Andy was talking about the strategy. Elliott Sadler, one of those who benefited from the early caution.
Yeah, they've made the same amount of pit stops, the cars that pitted under that caution and the ones under green, but you can see the timing of the pit stop makes a big difference and why pitting under caution is such a real penalty. Elliott Sadler able to make up about 18 spots there or more, about 19 spots.
He was 37th at the time of the yellow by the other cars pitting. Now he's up to 19th place. Michael McDowell's car's gone behind the wall under the caution. Dexter Stacy has gotten out of his car for a relief driver. More on that in a minute. First, the restart. Second place, Owen Kelly, Billy Johnson, 54 and 16.
Got to hand it to Billy Johnson. Took the outside on both of those corners and held the spot.
But I just started to say, those two guys were really playing nice, getting down to the turn 2 right there.
Max Pappas by Nelson Piquet to pick up a spot, and Piquet getting shuffled a little bit as they run down the hill.
We talked earlier, the car that Nelson Piquet's driving is the same car he won with last year, so a lot of confidence going in this race with this car.
Yeah, how do you like that point leader caught in the middle of a 3-wide battle?
Big, deep run into that corner for Hornish in the 12. He made it work.
It's Cal Larson, the 32 car. He's been running really good in practice and qualified well. Not a road racer to speak of, but he put a lot of effort into it. He went testing, he went really got his skills honed. He's a pretty confident driver coming in this race. He's looking good out there right now.
So right behind him, you got Jeremy Clements just outside the top 10. A good run so far for him.
See the 3 car there, Austin Dillon. He ran a ARCA race here today. Got some more experience, got some more understanding of this course. I believe that was a really good thing for him to do, and had a great run all day long, and ended up getting himself a little scuffle out there in the racetrack late.
Contact with another car while racing for the lead. Car carrying that left front tire through that hard left-hand turn. Let's go back to the restart just a minute.
Yeah, if you go back to the restart, you can see Sam Hornish in the 12 car, about right here. You'll see that he doesn't get a very good start at all. See Johnny O'Connell goes to the inside.
Green. Green, green.
I think he either spun the tires or didn't have the same gear ratio as some of the cars around him.
But then gathered it back up, drove way down into turn 5 and passed about 3 cars in that one corner. And Sam is running in 4th place.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get a little embarrassed after a bad restart.
Is that what it is?
You gotta get the crew's going, hey man, are you sleeping out there? What's going on? Get the lead out. Let's get this baby rocking and rolling here.
Regan Smith in the 7, the championship leader. As Piquet runs deep into the corner to try and get up another spot, make up some of that ground lost a couple laps ago.
See the 5 car, Johnny O'Connell right there behind him going up the hill here. Be interesting to see how Johnny does throughout the day. Really an accomplished road racer, but doesn't have hardly any time in stock cars. And I think as this race goes on, he'll get more accustomed.
22 car. back to third place. Got to stay on the pavement.
He's run a flawless race so far, but right here, just overcharges the corner, gets in the grass. And he's kicking himself right now.
I didn't hear you wheel hop. Yeah, and we talked about it earlier in the show that one of the key things you've got to do here is keep it on the track. As simple as that sounds, it's easy to get these cars off course.
So Allmendinger first to third, just like that, by one bobble up in turn number 6. And Billy Johnson is the new leader at Road America. Live at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, the NASCAR Nationwide Series. For the first of 3 road course races they'll run this season. Billy Johnson, the second leader of the event, after A.J. Allmendinger in that 22 car, led the first 6 laps from pole position, but ran wide in turn 6 and has fallen back to third place.
He's not liking that a bit. Just overshot that corner, got in too deep, and now he's went from first to third, but he's got a great pit crew. Get him back up front.
Earlier, while running second, Michael McDowell coasted to a stop up in turn 6. Shannon?
Yeah, the guys are still working on his cars. You hear them getting the engine fired right now, Alan. They did confirm to me that it was a broken distributor. Looks of confusion and looks of frustration, certainly, as they just said it just broke the distributor. Now, I spoke with crew chief Matt Lucas this weekend, and he knew the expectations were high, as you guys mentioned, when Michael McDowell was running second. They said they proved that they could run up front at these road courses. They just needed to close the deal, and it does not look like that will happen today.
Well, that is a bad break. You never hardly hear of that, a distributor breaking. I don't know if it was the shaft, the gear, or what, how they were able to diagnose that, but that's a very rare failure.
Tell you what, Andy, I watched it when they opened the hood. One of the crew guys actually pointing frantically to the distributor, like it was pretty obvious whatever happened.
Yeah, they probably took the cap off, started spinning the engine, and could tell that the distributor was not turning.
So as you look at the top 3, none of these drivers have made a pit stop yet. And as the revolving and evolving road course strategy dictates the course of this race, Elliott Sadler making the most of it for now. Sadler on pit road on the very first lap of the race. Then when the caution came out at lap number 4, stayed on the racetrack, gained a lot of ground.
Yeah, he's in the top 10 after starting dead last and just having a just terrible start to the weekend. I mean, they didn't really even get a lap of practice. And then the qualifying session got cut short by the same exact thing. They've done a great job of recovering here, Dave.
They sure have, Andy, and imagine the confidence and the comfort that Elliott has now. He's got that transmission that he's comfortable with, and he's made these laps. He's made them well. He's made them fast. Remember, they stopped, as you said, on lap 1. The car just a little bit tight in both directions for the driver, but they can work on that.
Going for a spot on Kyle Larson in the 32. That's 9th place.
Kyle didn't even try to hold him back at all. He held his line, and that's a line when Elliott moved to the inside. Kyle saw him forever, so he didn't even try to block that move.
Now, Elliott's got a good car.
Other side of the strategy now, the guys who haven't pitted yet, we're coming up on that point where the window opens for the 2 stoppers to hit the pit lane, try and make it work. Max Pappas in that 33 car running 8th.
30, I can't fight too much because they're going to wreck me because I'm really slow down the straight. I can't block them too much.
Really slow down the straights.
Well, generally, that's not an engine problem. These engines are almost identical on all these Richard Childress cars. I think they are identical. A lot of times this happens when your car's not handling right.
Yeah, there's another factor could be in play here, too, is that they tune these engines to get the most fuel mileage that you can get at a road course. And they can do that and make a big difference in mileage, but it does hurt the horsepower. And that may be what they've done here is try to tune for economy, and they're paying a little bit of the price on straightaway.
Let's get more on Pappas and his effort from Doc.
And Andy Petrie, you are right on the money. Ernie Cope has tuned that 33 to make it on 2 stops, whereas the 11 that's dogging him from behind is a 3-stop strategy. So they don't have to worry about fuel, but they needed to get Max Pappas to lap 14 or 15 and be able to go 18 or 19, be able to make it on 2 stops. and give him a shot at winning the race. And when you tune it for fuel mileage, you lose the horsepower, and there he loses the spot to Elliott Sadler.
Yeah, but you can see this three-stop strategy working really well for Elliott Sadler, because now you can see they're together on the racetrack. They both have to make the same amount of pit stops to the end. So it looks like Elliott Sadler is in a little better position because his car is obviously faster.
The foot cam on Max Pappas in the 33.
It's pretty obvious he's giving up a little bit of speed on the straightaway.
Check that brake pedal, make sure it's there before you get to the end of this very high-speed straightaway.
Let's keep fighting. Let's fight. Help me out.
Just love Max Pappas' intensity. No give up in him.
He is intense, though, but he's rattled that this car is not running down the straightaways fast. He needs to calm down a little bit. He's got a long way to go. We're only lap 11 of this 50-lap race.
Well, it felt like we were riding with A.J. Allmendinger through that corner. Great camera shot.
Second place Allmendinger. Owen Kelly driving the Joe Gibbs Racing 54, normally steered by Kyle Busch, just ahead of him. Kelly, the Australian, says he hasn't driven in a race all year, but he knows he's got a good car and a team that expects to run well. I talked with him yesterday. I said, expectations? He said, well, we'll run well. And why shouldn't we be able to win?
Yeah. I like the way he thinks.
Little wide there. Not enough room for the dinger. Now, while they fight for second, the lead is being held by Billy Johnson. Getting it done for Ford and for Roush Racing at the moment here in Wisconsin. 26-year-old Billy Johnson of Torrance, California is leading the NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Road America today. There's the gap from Johnson back to second place, Owen Kelly. The defending winner is in.
Nelson Piquet Jr. in his pit box for his first pit stop of the day. A little bit close to the wall. As you can see, the guys are having a hard time getting the jack underneath the car. It was a call for 4 tires, the exact same car and setup that won last year. Dave.
Johnny O'Connell gives up the 7th position to come in for 4 fresh tires and full of Sunoco fuel. You see, the fueler did not want to let go until he was absolutely leaving. And his car was just a little bit tight. Crew chief telling me they're still just trying to get their feet under them. Johnny O'Connell's first stock car race today.
And he was excited about it, that's for sure.
A long stop for Nelson Piquet, though. Parked too close to the wall and cost him a ton of time.
Well, that jackman was doing all he could to try to get that car jacked up. Couldn't clear the handle because the wall was just too close to him. And I've done that before and got my rear end chewed out for doing that.
It's all about the details. The driver has to take care of that one.
I've come down pit road and got that baby pitted too close to the wall, and the pit crew is screaming, don't do that again.
Well, you'd be screaming too if they were taking too long, right?
That's true, yes. What do you guys do out there?
Turn 3 there, turn 4, and now down to what has been the action spot at this track so far today. Turn 5, heavy downhill, hard braking, left-hander. That was Canada corner.
I know what you meant.
I tell you, you can get lost on this track. It's 4 miles around it.
These leaders that have not pitted yet should be making that right-hand turn onto the pit lane sometime in the next few laps.
I was just talking to Andy. I said, Andy, why did they pit so early? I thought these cars could run about 18 laps, but we've had practice. We've had all the qualifying.
Pitting this time, Billy.
That eats up a lot of laps.
We're going to stop you.
There you go.
So Billy Johnson's going to pit.
On lap 14, he'll be coming down pit road. So after this, we're talking about maybe these cars can run about 18 laps in, right, Andy?
Yes, this first segment of the race is going to be a lot shorter because of the qualifying, the warm-up, pace laps.
Note the windshield wiper on Regan Smith's car did have some rain threatening in the forecast earlier. Obviously, that's cleared away, but they've got the wiper on there just in case a shower pops up during the race. The rain tires are here, Dave.
His first Road America race, so far so good. Car staying on track, just a little bit tight. They'll make an air pressure adjustment actually to help drive off was the call. So a 4-tire change and full of Sunoco fuel. Mike?
Kyle Larson making his first career Nationwide Series road course start. Been spending most of the day being patient, just learning the track, biding his time, being as conservative as possible. Pretty happy with the race car, Sunoco race fuel, and 4 tires on the 32, Doc.
Austin Dillon says the car is tight. He said, I can't get in the corner, and the car just snapped loose trying to come up off. You got to free me up. They're going to put 4 tires on it, get it completely full of fuel. They've got to go to lap 32 to make it all the way on fuel. Dillon is down and away.
Austin had lost 4 or 5 spots a couple of laps ago. He's got some ground to make up now.
Boy, when you have a car that won't turn on a road course, it can be a long day.
You're right, and I've been in that position before where it's loose left, tight left in right. And we've actually come down pit road and put spring rubbers in each rear spring to give it some more stiffness and more stability, and that really woke them up, made them drive a lot better.
Yeah, it sets up everything wrong, because if you're tight getting into the corners, you try to force it around, force it to make the corner, and then you're trying to get on the throttle to turn it, then that makes the rear tires go away.
More troubles for Austin Dillon. Speeding penalty. Too fast exiting. Remember what we talked about on the earlier before the green? That's a long trip down the pit road to serve that penalty. All right, here comes the leader. Billy Johnson to pit lane. Allmendinger and Kelly going to follow him in. Stops as they wrap up the 14th lap of the race.
830 foot before they get to even their first pit box. Long pit road here.
Dave's first.
Second place, Owen Kelly hitting the marks perfectly. Brake dust falling from the front wheels of the 54 car. Just a little bit tight was the call from the driver. It'll be a 4-tire and Sunoco fuel change. Doc?
Billy Johnson getting 4 tires, getting it full of Sunoco fuel. An adjustment by Seth Barber. Billy said, I need help on the left-hander. Air pressure adjustment on the 16. In front of him, the 22 is in. Allmendinger said, I've got no drive off from the middle off. No drive off and lateral. They made an adjustment, air pressure, and chassis on the 22.
Martis Jr. second in the points. He brought his car down pit road for his first pit stop of the day. He says the right front is locking up. He's having some wheel hops, so they made a wedge adjustment and 4 tires.
Something went wrong on Allmendinger's pit stop.
Yeah, it's almost like it took him forever to get going. They dropped a jacket, he didn't go.
Like he stalled just after he tried to go. Caution flag is out.
All these cars making their pit stops were likely on pit road before the yellow came out. So they'll be able to complete their stops. I saw a black flag being displayed to Austin Dillon last time by. He had not made his penalty pass through yet, evidently.
Not the only one going to get a speeding penalty. Billy Johnson.
I could tell you one thing. I looked out the window and I went, what in the world? It looked like he was just flying down pit road. He got really confused on his pit road speed. I even poked you in the arm and said, look at that car, how fast it's going. He got down this pit stall, threw it sideways, and slid in sideways. So really aggressive. Something went crazy wrong with Billy's speed calculations.
All right, the caution is for Andrew Ranger, who has stopped on the track and apparently has rolled the car off into a little nook and cranny where it's hard for us to see him from this point, but NASCAR has sent the tow truck out to retrieve him, as you see. Recapping the speeding penalty for Billy Johnson, who was leading when he came down the pit lane. There's Ranger, who is now rolled to where we can see him. And what happened to A.J. Allmendinger trying to get away from that pit stop?
Yeah, there's some other things going on too. You see Elliott Sadler, now the leader, he still has to make 2 pit stops. So this is almost a bad break for him. He got caught a really good break in the beginning. But this one here, even though he's leading the race now, he still has to make a stop that these other guys made, and it'll be pretty soon too. He'll probably try to make that after we go green.
I'll tell you what, Andy, I'm really confused about Billy Johnson, though. It was just such a visual look out the window here of the booth, how fast he was going down pit road. It's like something got really calculated wrong on his tachometer, or if maybe even a wrong gear.
And let's see if we can go back while they gather up the field and find out what happened to Allmendinger.
Pit stop fairly normal at this point. He's a little close to the wall too. Waiting on fuel or the rear
Wait,
tire.
oh, go, 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 go. Go, go, go.
Stalled.
Yep. So that is going to cost Allmendinger a little bit of ground. The caution actually a break for him because it lets him make up the ground he lost to the guys he was racing with.
Yes, but he lost a spot to the 54 car, Owen Kelly, for sure. I saw him pass him on pit road.
Now, Elliott Sadler, you mentioned, had taken over the lead. He is on pit road here under the yellow flag, along with a number of others. Dave?
And they will get 4 fresh tires on that first stop. They did not take any tires. They just fueled him up, so he'll get 4 fresh ones this time. Really hasn't said anything negative about the car. Happy for the first time this weekend, Mike.
Brian Vickers also very happy with his race car, taking on 4 new Goodyears and packing that car full of Sunoco race fuel. He's a win.
All the way, you got it.
So a lot of these 3-stoppers getting a very timely caution just after the 2-stoppers pitted under green.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's a good break because you're going to see Elliott Sadler and all the guys that stole that track position early line up well behind the cars that pitted under green just before the yellow came out.
Under yellow for the second time here at Road America. Coming to the restart here at Road America with a whole running order jumbled up by a caution flag, a series of green flag and caution flag pit stops. Reset the restart in just a minute. Pit road's been an action spot so far today. A lot of close calls and a lot of trouble. Brian Vickers, squeeze by Reed Sorensen, barely.
Yeah, and you can see Nelson Piquet parked too close to the wall. The Jackman barely able to get it up.
A.J. Allmendinger here in the 22 car. They dropped the flag, or dropped the jack, stalls the engine, can't get going. They got to refire this baby. Lost a lot of time right there.
And now Brian Vickers is going to be coming back to the pit road. Watch.
I got it. It's on there. It's on there.
A little disagreement.
Lug nut missing. The ruling from the NASCAR official on the scene. 20 car being called back to pit road as we get set to go back racing.
I will tell you one thing, guys. That jack came down awful fast. He was trying to stab that lug nut, and he was reaching for it, and I saw that jack come down.
Vickers running in 13th as we get set for the restart, which has just been waved off.
A lot of pressure on pit crews.
Pit stops here. I wonder if some of these people were expecting the race to go green and then the restart was waved off late. I know Vickers had to come back in.
Yeah, he served a penalty. Put that lug nut back on.
$20 Vickers, 21 gone, 40 Sorensen, 87 of Kelly. All in here. Mike?
And Vickers will roll to a stop in his pit stall. They'll tighten up that lug nut, top him off with Sunoco race fuel. You also going to see a guy, one of their crew members, leaning inside the car. Well, they handed Brian a water bottle on that last stop. He dropped it. It was rolling around on the floorboards underneath the pedals. They had to retrieve it. Doc?
And Billy Johnson coming in to top off a moment ago when he was the leader and got called for speeding on pit road, just pure inexperience. He was told 4,800 RPMs in first gear. That's 40 miles an hour. He said, I got 4,800 RPMs, but he was in second gear. That was 70 miles an hour. Thus, the speeding penalty, inexperience on his part.
Boy, Doc, thanks for explaining that, because I'm telling you what, I looked out that window and went, holy smokes, this cat's flying.
He's just flying, not flat flying?
He was flat flying.
We'll come back for the restart. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, population just under 1,000. The scene of Road America, where it's been chaotic in the opening laps of today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race. Leaders running off the course, problems on pit road speeding penalties.
It's on there. It's on there.
And missing lug nuts.
He was selling it, though. Hollywood was like, hey, I know that lug nut is on that stud. It's got to be. And it wasn't.
Working hard. So as we get ready to go back racing, there are a few cars that have not pitted since either lap 1 or lap 4. One of them is the leader's Parker Kligerman. Mike?
Catching up with his crew chief, Eric Phillips, right now. You haven't been on pit road since early in the race. What's the plan?
We're just a couple laps short on making it all the way right here. Probably didn't need this caution. We're going to lose some track position, but we're just playing it a little bit safe. I've run him out of gas the last 2 weeks and can't do that. We got a really good Camry today, have had all weekend. So we'll probably come 1 or 2 more laps, and then we can make it on 1 more stop.
There's another issue facing this team too, Alan. Parker Kligerman radioed in very early in the race that his cool box is pretty much burned up.
Well, he'll be working hard inside that car on what has turned into a 74-degree day here in Wisconsin. There was a threat of rain in the showers. It went away. Dry race now, but these drivers did practice in the rain yesterday and had a chance to fool with the rain a little bit. It flirted with us during qualifying earlier today. Elliott Sadler has had an eventful day.
What the hell is the 33 doing? He's passing everybody. So bad. The 33 was behind us on pit road the whole time and behind us on the track. Now he's in front of us. Need to check our position also. We've been in front of him the whole time.
NASCAR did double check those positions. They placed the 33 and the 11 in the spots that they deemed they belong in for this restart.
Yeah, I can see how drivers can get a little confused on the way they line these cars up because it's been so chaotic with these cars pitting under caution, under green, and where these timing lines are.
Alex Bowman follows the pace car down pit road. Watch for Kligerman 77 and Trevor Bayne to his outside in the 6 to make pit stops shortly after the green. Billy Johnson after the penalty. Remember, he was the leader before he pitted. He's 32nd. Car James Busher. Is the machine losing a couple of spots on this restart?
See Max Pappas make a big bold move there under braking to get a spot.
Red car Regan Smith, the championship leader, running 6th.
Hey, I walked down to that turn 5 right there and watched them come through. It looks like they're just crawling. How slow they are. They're under braking. They're spinning the tires up the hill. Probably the slowest part of the racetrack right there.
Hornish following Allmendinger through Trevor Bayne, who we expect to see on the pit lane momentarily. Remember, that 6 car pitted on the very first lap of the race, so he is out there on older tires than a lot of these other guys that are running around him.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Regan Smith, though. He's run a pretty clean race so far, been pretty fast. He's got that point lead that he needs to try to protect, and this is one of the toughest places to do it.
And it's hard to change your driving style, Andy. I mean, you're used to running a certain way, and to try to back up your car, slow it down, and alter what you've been doing all year long, even on a road course, is tough to do. We have talked about Regan Smith in our production meetings and everything about how is he going to run this race with such a big point lead. I don't think you can alter it much.
A sideways moment for PK there in the 30 back in traffic. Lead change. Oh, and off the course.
That's a big mistake for Kligerman. He should have let him have that spot because he just heard his crew chief saying they're going to pit in a lap or 2.
Boy, he's got to stay in the throttle, not get stuck in this stuff.
Keeping it going through the gravel trap. Now can he get across to the pit lane?
He may not make it this time. He may have to go another lap. It's going to be very costly.
Definitely.
No reason to fight for that spot at that point.
No, there wasn't. He was, Owen had to let that car drift out. Got him in his right front fender, shoved him out in that gravel trap. But I agree with you, Kligerman didn't need a fight at that point.
Trevor Bayne has made it to the pit lane, Doc.
Scheduled stop for Trevor Bayne. Mike Kelly trying to keep him on schedule. Pitted on lap 2. Now will come down and can make it all the way to lap 38. So easily making it on fuel to the 50 lap mark. Probably can make it for at least 2 green white checkers. They'll put 4 tires. Minor air pressure adjustment. Told Trevor just be patient. Take care of the fenders. Take care of the brakes. We want to gain points and gain position. By design, got to get it completely full of Sunoco fuel. Right side tires going on. Waiting on the gas, and he's away.
Okay, go, 4,900.
So the second pit stop strategy play there for Mike Kelly. Trevor Baines, crew chief. The race for the lead, Owen Kelly, 54. A.J. Allmendinger, 22. By the way, Parker Kligerman, after being in second spot a lap ago, is now back in 28th place by that slide off the course.
Yeah, and he still has to make a pit stop. So that was a real costly mistake for him.
Flying down to Canada corner.
It's another corner right here, Alan. You can get that car in way too deep, get it off the course. We've seen a lot of passing, though, late in the race. It's like they don't try it too much early, but when the pressure gets on, we see a lot of passing going into Canada corner.
Yeah, Allmendinger's just about made up all of the ground that he's lost with the 2 mistakes he's made today. Right now, he just needs to be cool and calm. Just wait for the opportunity. Don't try to force anything and maybe make another mistake. Made 1 mistake on pit road, and the other one was overdriving turn 5.
That's a real test of power right there. Who's got good horsepower down that long straightaway? It's really amazing how close NASCAR's got the horsepower now between these Toyotas and these Fords and Chevys.
Yep.
They're within, what do you think, Alan, about 10 horsepower, very close.
Well, Allmendinger's trying to worry Owen Kelly into giving up the lead. Nothing doing so far for the Australian aboard the Gibbs 54 Toyota. Turn 5, what's been the action spot so far today?
Ooh, that's aggressive.
Whoa.
Yeah, I started to see he got in awful hot there.
Yeah, they pull it off somehow.
He needed that 54 car so he could stop.
The old 8 tires are better than 4
That's
theory.
right. Well, I've been in the corner several times deep going, oh, man, I can't get this baby to stop. You got to lean on that guy's bumper in front of you and hope that he won't spin out.
And while you're watching the race for the lead, Parker Kligerman has come to pit road for his green flag stop. Also, while you've been watching this, the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. and the 2 of Brian Scott have been at it a little bit. And look at that, on the defending winner.
Big damage. Okay, I call that wheel hop. See that? He just couldn't slow that car down. Nelson Piquet. Let's listen to it, maybe.
Yep, there it is.
Wheel hop. To get you every time.
And those rear tires start hopping. They're not on the ground, but about 10% of the time. They're in the air.
You get in so deep, that front end gets pinned really hard. The back of that car gets light. That happens. That's just a driver error right there.
Well, Nelson Piquet had high hopes of turning his season around with a good run here after his first top 10 of the season last week in Michigan. Not happening today, at least not without a little work on the front end of that car. There's the race for the lead. Kelly and Allmendinger, 1 and 2. Closing in on halfway today in the Johnsonville Sausage 200 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. You see the race for the lead. Owen Kelly in the 54 has put a little bit of a gap on A.J. Allmendinger in the 22. They went hard at it in turn 5 a couple of times in a row. This was the most recent.
I'm not sure about that move from Kelly. Looks like he had moved to the left to defend. And whenever Allmendinger went to the outside, he kind of forced him off the road. I'm not sure about this.
I don't understand this move with A.J. It's like he couldn't get slowed down because you're not going to pass a guy on the outside hand going in turn 5. Like that car won't slow down enough, like the brakes are going away on it or something.
Now, end result is that the lead is widened out from bumper to bumper to that gap. Gives us time to go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and check in on some of these front runners. We start with Dave.
Recall that Owen Kelly in the 54, his background is V8 supercars in Australia. Tight racetracks, defending your line. He's used to this sort of thing. They pitted on lap 14. He's had very little to say about the car. It's been great out front. They'll have to pit again one more time, probably lap 32 or 33. Doc?
Yesterday in practice, A.J. Allmendinger said he wanted as many laps to get on the racetrack. He said, the biggest problem I've got right now is I overdrive the braking zones, particularly down in the bottom of the racetrack, turn 12 to 14. He said, I've got to learn to be a little more patient. The crew a moment ago said, we got plenty of time. Back off, be patient. You've got a good race car. Shannon.
Patience is the word on Sam Hornish Jr.'s radio as well. They're telling him, just stay out, turn the laps, finish the race. He, of course, came down and pitted one time, made some adjustments for some wheel hop. Started this race 58 points out at first, but if he's learned anything in this series and specifically on road courses, it's that he has to race his own race. Mike.
Shannon, unlike the 3 cars and drivers in front of him, Kyle Larson is not a road course expert. He actually joked with me earlier this week that his only real experience is in go-karts in Mooresville, North Carolina. He said he's going to spend the first 2/3 of this race just trying to study the racetrack, understand what he needs to do and what he can't do. So far, so good. And the next planned stop for the 32 is on lap 32, Doc.
Back behind him in the 33 car, there comes the Italian road racer, Max Pappas, Formula One veteran, Grand Am champion, former Rolex 24 champion. Max making only his 13th NASCAR nationwide start. He drives with so much emotion. He talks with emotion on the radio. Right now, Max says the car is good. It's gotten better with some rear grip after that 4-tire change. Dave.
Regan Smith, the championship leader, knew that he needed some road course expertise, so in March, with some other Chevrolet drivers, he visited Ron Fellows out in Las Vegas. Ron taught him what he needed to know in terms of road course racing that he didn't already have. He said it helped him a bunch, and it made him more confident coming here for the first time today. Johnny O'Connell in the 5 car behind him, he is the guy who's kind of effectively replaced Ron Fellows here this weekend. So far, a very smooth run for O'Connell. They last pitted, the 5 car did, on lap 11, as you see there, and he'll have to pit one more time. Doc?
Back behind him, Justin Allgaier. Last time these cars were on a road course in Montreal a year ago, it was Allgaier who went to victory lane, trying to possibly get one here. A couple of years ago, one got away here because they ran out of fuel. That's why they're using the pit strategy they're using, to be able to be very safe on fuel. Last time in, they added some rear bite. Allgaier says the car has gotten better. Dave.
In case you missed it, folks, remember Elliott Sadler, 2 engine failures this weekend for missed shifts, and they have replaced the transmission in that car to his liking. He's had a very good run so far today. Nothing to say on the radio, but believe you me, he wants to get this back for the team. Alan?
Just joining us, Michael McDowell, one of the early race favorites behind him, spent a few laps behind the wall, replacing a distributor. He's 5 laps down in 37th. Billy Johnson, who led earlier, had the pit road speeding penalty, went back to 32nd. Johnson has worked his way up to 12th place. Coming up to halfway home, the lead beginning to tighten back up again here at Road America. Got away. Muscling through for the lead as we come back to Road America. A.J. Allmendinger in that same turn 5 where he got shoved wide a few laps ago. This time got the inside line when Kelly did not make a defensive move and got the lead.
Oh, I saw him go down there. I went, no, don't do that. Don't try that. And it worked for him.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive move. You risk wheel up on those rear tires. Allmendinger does a great job maintaining control. Runs a little bit wide on Kelly.
Body slamming there, like, get out of my way. And we just got done talking. These guys got about a 6.5 second lead on 3rd place car. They really don't need to be running this hard, but you could tell that AJ wanted that lead bad.
So after leading the opening 6 laps of this race from pole position and then giving up the top spot, then having a problem on a pit stop, A.J. Allmendinger has worked his way back to the #1 spot. Quick reminder that coming up later tonight on ESPN, qualifying for the Auto Plus NHRA inaugural New England Nationals can be seen here. Part of a big weekend of motorsports on the ESPN networks. Tomorrow, the IndyCars are at Iowa Speedway for the Iowa Corn Indy 250. See that one on ABC at 2:30 Eastern Time. The Auto Plus NHRA New England Nationals final eliminations are tomorrow at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. And then next weekend, we carry on with this NASCAR Nationwide Series at Kentucky Speedway at 7 o'clock Eastern, Friday night on ESPN. Climbing the hill. The new leader, A.J. Allmendinger. There's the gap he's put on Owen Kelly in 2nd. Look for 3rd place. Whistle a little tune. Wait a couple of minutes. All right, maybe 5 seconds. But Sam Hornish Jr. doing another tremendous job in a Nationwide Series road course race. Top 5 in all of them last season. He's running 3rd now.
A lot of forward drive that lap and stability around the right-hand corner. Trying to make sure that the right rear left rear is not going flat.
Kenny Hobble has gotten off the track down at Canada Corner. That looks like he's had some contact.
Looks like he's got a guardrail there or something he hit. The wind's creased in.
Yeah, basically just lost it.
Oh,
tires. That's what did all the damage.
The 40-year-old Australian who now lives in the Charlotte area has bent it up a little bit today here at Road America. 5th place, Max Pappas, Regan Smith. Weren't with us earlier. Max talked about his car not having the straightaway speed that he wanted. Somebody a little wide ahead of him there. 70 of Tony Raines, who had spent some time behind the wall with a mechanical problem on that car. You know, Regan Smith had everything to lose in this race today. Has the largest championship lead ever since they've been using this current scoring system for determining the champion in this nationwide series. Really, Sam Hornish Jr. probably hoping that the road courses, which have been not the strongest point of Regan Smith's program in the past statistically, might help him gain some of that ground back. Smith says, stay calm, keep it on the track, and keep it the championship on track as well.
Well, I think we still have to do the same things we've been doing week in and week out, and that's go out and get the best optimum performance that we can and the best finish that we can. You know, it's a situation where there's a ton of variables. We've got rain, we've got dry, we've got lots of guys that maybe don't run regularly with us that are here because they're road course specialists, things like that. I've watched the tapes from here before, and I understand what some of the risks are with other cars wheel hopping and things like that in certain corners, and you got to try not to put yourself in those bad situations and just try to be smart.
Got to be feeling pretty smart when you're passing Max Pappas on a road course, huh?
Nice, clean pass. It doesn't have a mark on the car so far. Doing a good job.
Well, I can tell you guys one thing. I've been watching this race for a while now. I predicted, I think we all have how it's going to look right now, but I know one thing. With about 5 laps to go, this is going to look totally different. Every single year we broadcast this race, it's calamity corner on every corner. It gets nuts with 5 to go.
Get the late caution and get the late chaos, right?
It gets a late chaos. It gets wild.
Nice drive today for Regan Smith in the 7 car. His Chevy right now running in 5th position here at Road America. Up front, it's A.J. Allmendinger. Out in front while Smith protects his championship lead. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Road America in Wisconsin, where there is the lead. A.J. Allmendinger 22-54. Owen Kelly separated by now 2.5 seconds. Sam Hornish Jr. in 3rd. Kyle Larson 4th, Regan Smith, Max Pappas there, 5th and 6th, red and yellow cars. And Billy Johnson, who led this race earlier on until making a mistake on pit road on a green flag stop at lap 14 that took him from the lead back to 32nd place, is picking his way back through. Ooh, a little cloud of dust there. Can this work out for him?
Well, he's got a long way to go. I mean, he has worked his way into the top 10, and you know how these things can finish. Anything can happen at the end of them, and usually does. And so he's still in it. He's got a shot.
Off the pace. Kelly's off the pace. From 2nd place. Is it out of fuel?
It could be. They're trying to stretch
If
this
you're running
segment.
out, bring it to us. Get ready, boys. I don't know why we would be.
I'm sure their calculations have them going at least a couple more laps, which is quite a bit. I mean, we're talking about maybe 8 more miles. So,
well, if he's out of gas,
miscalculation for sure.
He's at the wrong end of the racetrack.
Find a safe place to stop and stop. Find a safe place and stop. Stop right there. Stop.
Parked under the bridge. That will bring out a caution flag.
Full course yellow. Full course yellow.
Well, that's a tough break. This is why it's so risky to try to
We need a
stretch
push
fuel
here.
here.
We just need a push.
If you miss it by half a lap, it's a long way.
Yeah, he last pitted on lap 14. I mean, and everybody else is still out there. A lot of cars pitted on lap 14 are still running. Maybe they just didn't get the car full of fuel.
How about it, Dave?
The only thing we can determine is Adam Stevens talking on the radio saying to Owen Kelly, there's no reason why we should be short. You guys know what they do. They calculate that fuel based on what's left in the can when he leaves. So based on their calculations, they don't think he's out of fuel.
Yeah, and they have to feel pretty certain they had it full. So if you don't get it full of fuel on that pit stop, then your calculation is less fuel used, which makes you even worse on the calculation at the end. So, I mean, there's some room for error right there. It's just very unfortunate for Owen Kelly, though.
Well, the 36-year-old Australian in one of 2 scheduled starts this year ran well today, was running in second place, and now he's coasted to a stop at the side of the road and brought out the full course caution for a 3rd time at Road America. Take a minute for the pace car to gather up the field and then to get back around to the opening of pit road. We'll see who stops under this yellow flag in a minute. An eventful day for Joe Gibbs Racing at Road America. Elliott Sadler, after an eventful weekend where he broke a transmission, over-revved the engine, missed a shift in both practice and qualifying, started at the back, has raced his way and strategized his way up into the top 10. Michael McDowell, pre-race favorite, broke a distributor behind the wall. He's 5 laps down in 37th place. And now Owen Kelly running second and suddenly stops on the course with 20 laps to go in this race, and he's being pushed back around to the pit lane now. Quite the interesting day, and that didn't even include the dropped lug nut for Brian Vickers that caused him to give up some track position and scratch and claw his way back.
Going to see now if this is the problem with Owen Kelly, whether it is just out of fuel or maybe a similar problem to what we saw with Michael McDowell's number 18.
We got to get it running. We'll get it running. We'll come back and do tires. Just do fuel. Just do fuel.
The urgency there for the crew chief is the fact that the field is coming up the hill to pit road now.
If they can get it started, they could possibly get out ahead of the pace car. They've got fuel in it. I don't see it running yet, though.
A lot of things were smoke far off like it just lit up, it looks like, Andy.
Well, you better go.
Most of the leaders are in, not all of them. A little strategy session coming here. Dave?
I believe Regan Smith is in. Alan, we're changing positions here. Yes, he is. He's coming down pit road right now. He gave up the 4th position. Interesting to see if they could go from here. They'll make no adjustments to the race car, but 4 tires and full of fuel. Mike?
Crew Chief Trent Owens, who has masterminded the winning strategy in each of the last 2 races here at Road America, was planning to stop on lap 32 anyway, so this falls right into his plan. 4 tires and fuel for Kyle Larson, Doc.
They wanted to go 18 laps. They're going to have to go 19 for Allmendinger, but that's not the big concern. AJ just said a moment ago, getting some vibration in the gearbox. Vibration in the gearbox on the 22. Got to be really careful final 19 laps.
That boys race off pit road. Max Pappas' team gaining a little ground. Now for Owen Kelly in this 54 car, even though they stopped on the racetrack, got pushed around by a tow truck, came down the pit road and had to get that thing refired, he gets off the pit lane ahead of the pace car and stays on the lead lap.
By a nose, just barely beats the pace car. Good job for that team. Got it full of fuel, too, look like.
Sam Hornish Jr. is the new leader. Did not pit under this caution flag. No matter which direction you look in here at Road America, there's racing to be seen. The road course with the NASCAR Nationwide Series on one side and the go-kart track right behind that young man's been spinning around in circles watching them both here for the last several minutes. And having a good time, I'm sure.
He gets to watch both of them.
That's it. Under caution for the 3rd time in today's Johnsonville Sausage 200. 3rd place Sam Hornish did not pit under that caution flag. A little strategy being played.
Right now, Sam, pitting right now. We're 2 laps away, and no green, white checker. No green, white checker. I think you got to hold what you got. Hold what you got.
Well, Hornish is the new leader with Kyle Kelly in 2nd, John Young in 3rd, and James Busher in 4th. And now 2 of those 4 have pitted here on the one to go. So it'll be Hornish and Buscher 1 and 2, and then the prior leader Allmendinger lining up third for the restart when we go racing.
It's going to be pretty costly though, because if not, I know it's a gamble to pit when you know you can't make it, but almost to me it's a bigger gamble to stay out. But he'll start probably back in the outside the top 30 here.
Follow up on what happened to Owen Kelly, who now finds himself back in 32nd place, Dave.
Adam Stevens is the crew chief, Alan. We heard you say you shouldn't be out of fuel, but ultimately that was it.
Yeah, I mean, we were obviously out of fuel. We got it refired there. We just didn't get it full on the first stop. Didn't really see it in the numbers. We were a little late plugging in the second can. I saw some fuel come up on that second can, and it obviously just wasn't full. That many laps short of our pit window is a surprise to all of us, but one good thing, we got Owen Kelly in this Monster Energy Toyota, and he can wheel one of these cars. It's going to be fun to watch coming from the back.
And you stayed on the lead lap.
Oh, absolutely. That was close. The guys did a good job getting it refired, so we'll bounce back. He can do it.
Just a matter of ounces of fuel down here, Alan, and you could hear him say he was watching it the whole way. Too bad that happened for him. We'll see what he can do.
Well, he's got a lot of ground to make up, and still a pretty significant chunk of race to do it in. So we'll see what happens when we go back green flag racing. 18 laps to go. Max Pappas running in fourth.
Save gas. Save, 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 save. We are half a lap short. Save all you can.
Alan, the thing I don't understand right here, it's 18 laps to go. We've been talking about these guys running 18 laps in the field, but all they can go. Now they're already talking about save fuel, and they might do 3 green, white checkers. I see a lot of guys running out of gas late. We'll find out later on.
Everybody gets that green, white checker. Maybe everybody's on pit road, and that adds even a little more spice to the end of this one.
Gonna get crazy.
The hillsides around Road America filled with race fans as always when the NASCAR Nationwide Series comes here to Wisconsin. 4th time now, and always a great reception from these race fans. Here's our green flag restart presented by Scott's. As they came to the green, Sam Hornish and Elliott Sadler along with Parker Kligerman went to pit road. Allmendinger, 22, taking the lead from James Buscher, 34.
Boy, take a look at Regan Smith there. We're talking about how's he going to run the day. He's conservative or go for it. Guy's in second place right now, and that car's been handling great all day long.
How about Regan Smith racing for the lead in the late laps of this one, when everybody came into this weekend thinking this was going to be one of the weak spots?
Yeah, that's just not one of the things I thought we'd see here. I thought we'd see Regan Smith and that team be very conservative, try to run maybe in the top 10. Had no idea they'd be this competitive. And, hey, they're just, yeah, this is the second part of the race. This is time to go. He might have something left.
Yeah, he just might. Right now, he really doesn't have to race really hard. He's not all boxed in by a bunch of cars. He can just run smooth, hit his shifts just right, hit his marks just right. I'll tell you another guy I'm impressed with is Billy Johnson, though, looking outside. Pit road speeding penalty, all the way up to 3rd or 4th it could be right now.
Well, that's a really impressive pass. On the outside through the carousel.
Was all the way back in 32nd place after that speeding penalty back at lap 16. Another speeding penalty just handed out. Sam Hornish.
Oh.
Speeding, exiting.
That's a heartbreaker right there.
Gave up the lead for the stop. Already maybe in a little trouble because of the strategy versus track position where the caution fell. And now he's going to have to do that pass-through again.
Yeah, he's already 31st by making that stop when he did. I just questioned that strategy from the beginning when they decided not to pit under caution. And now this. Boy, this is going to bury him.
Talk about Mad Max Pappas. Look at this, guys. Running 4th right now. He said he didn't have any horsepower. The car's not running down the straightaways. Looks like they got that figured out, too. And Justin Allgaier, another guy that's turned himself into a good road racer. Right up there in the top 5 right now, looking strong.
And going for a spot on Pappas here, down the hill to turn 1.
Left side. Left side.
Over
Clear. Clear by a half.
I thought he was going to fly into there. Nice job, Allgaier.
Clear, clear. Good job, bud.
Yeah, nice pass.
Still trying to get control, it looks like.
Larson also looking for a place to go.
Oh, he really crowded old Max Pappas right then.
Yeah, looks like Larson's going to get side by side with Pappas. See if he can make the pass.
Pappas has the inside line to turn 5. Johnny O'Connell there in the 5 also.
O'Connell got a really good run off at turn 5 right there, up into turn 6. And it's really hard for a guy on the outside to block that move. And you saw what happened to Kyle Larson right there. Lost about 3 positions for that.
Mike Wallace off at turn 6. And back on. Was 19th.
Alan, you starting to feel some tension right now?
Yep.
I am. I'm starting to feel it. The small mistakes everybody's making out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, but the one thing you look at, you see 16 laps to go. Do you think, well, we're getting close to the end? There's a lot of racing left for 16 laps on a 4-mile road course.
Yeah, it's a full fuel run. You're right. But they can feel it. It's like when the laps get down into the teens, it gets into the driver's head, and to them, they're out of time.
Second place. Billy Johnson through. Without a ton of resistance from Regan Smith, and smartly so. Driver in that 16 and that car have been fast all day, but trying to dig out of a big hole. They're up to second.
It's amazing how the aerodynamics really affects the airflow over. Look at the windshield wiper there in the 7 car. I remember a lot of times guys
would get P3 right there. Save your stuff a little bit. Get a drink of water if you need it.
Close to 170 miles an hour getting to turn 1. I started to say a lot of guys would use that windshield wiper as an aerodynamic advantage in the old days to run that airflow down to the rear spoiler to get more downforce.
Well, Dave, that 7's had plenty of speed today.
We talked all day about how they're protecting their championship lead. They did that a lot during practice when he ran by himself. Greg Ives told me that was no good for speed. As soon as Regan got around other cars and started racing with them, that's when he started picking up his lap times here at Road America. So all day long, he's been picking up speed, racing with guys, looking at their lines and improving his, and it's really showing up now.
I would guess that when you come to a racetrack like this, and it's the first time you've ever been here, you've never raced on it before, and your first practice is going to be in the rain, it's going to be a little bit intimidating to get your marks down where you need to be on a dry track. And to their credit, Regan Smith and Greg Ives have worked the plan all weekend long very successfully.
He's basically done it all year long.
Yeah. Owen Kelly in the 54 trying to make up some of the lost ground from running out of fuel while being second. He's up to 13th place. He restarted 32nd.
Wow.
And Sam Hornish has just served his pass-through penalty. He's back in 32nd place, 56 seconds behind the race leader. Needs a caution.
Yeah, he needs a caution and a few more breaks too.
I don't think A.J. Allmendinger would mind if this ran caution-free for the rest of it. Opened up a little bit of a gap on Billy Johnson, but now that 16 is behind him and trying to close. Got a little mayhem down at Canada Corner involving 21 Brendan Gaughan, 32 Kyle Larson. Caution flag is out. And that is the third of 3 things involving Larson, all in a very short period of time, like the last lap and a half.
So he has a little damage on that hood. That's the first incident.
Got down to turn 1, couldn't stop and hit Max Pappas in the back and caved in the nose of that car.
All right. The events as they unfolded in sequential order for Kyle Larson.
Drives in deep. Wham.
Inside.
Look at that nose.
That's turn 1, racing Max Pappas.
Hold your corner.
Then they went down the hill to turn 5 and back up to turn 6. Out of that corner, he and Johnny O'Connell.
Looks like 2 cars cars going for one spot.
O'Connell did manage to drive away and has continued. Then the hat trick. Wasn't involved in the beginning, but got involved in the avoidance.
That's a close call, too.
Yeah.
It's almost like Larson just got spooked. Saw all that smoke and tried to make a wrong move to the right and spun himself out.
Well, he's all the way back down to 25th after racing for 6th place just a minute ago.
And he really had a good run all day long, Alan. To only start unfolding right here at the very end with 13 laps to go now.
Yep. So, as Andy's mentioned a couple times, 13 laps a long time on this racetrack. But can you feel it?
You can feel it.
Here it comes.
I mean, you can feel it coming. You can. We've talked about it the whole broadcast, how the intensity in these road courses really heat up. And we've done this for, what is it, 3 or 4 years now, and it always happens at the very end here.
Here it comes.
Oh, yeah.
This next restart ought to be a doozy.
Everybody here trying to save fuel. Planning for that green-white checker that we may have.
Because as our Hall of Fame friend here said the other day when we were talking about this race, if you get one late yellow, you're going to use all 3 of those green-white checkers.
Well, there's just hardly any way to make it to the finish with these double file restarts. It's just hard to make it through one green-white checker. There's almost always going to be another caution.
And Alan, the only reason I said that is because that's happened here before. And it's like, if you do get that one green light checker, it locks you all up in that restart, and somebody is going to dive bomb you, somebody's going to go for it, and it's going to happen. And it happened a couple of years ago here.
And if you're that guy, Regan Smith, that's just what you don't want to be in the middle of.
Yeah, you got to get out of that mess.
Done a great job all day of protecting his track position, protecting his championship lead. He's in 3rd position right now as we come up on 10 to go, and does not want to see all the mayhem and chaos break out and involve him. Now, all this bobbing and weaving you're seeing on the track are people speeding up and slowing down, trying to save fuel and still stay in their assigned spot in line.
Owen Kelly making a pit stop. He was involved in that the caution that came out. He got into Brendan Gaughan. I don't know if he thought he had damage or maybe flat spotted the tires. He thought they had enough fuel to make it.
32nd to 9th in that green flag run after the out of fuel problem a bit ago.
Yeah, I'm not really understanding this pit stop unless he thinks he's going to be short on fuel again, Dave.
Rusty, it's kind of all of the above. They want to check the damage. They want to put fresh tires on it. They want to make sure they're good on fuel. Johnny O'Connell is in as well. Basically, everybody that pitted on lap 31 was right on the number to the end of the race. No room for green-white checkered error, if you will. So this helps them. This helps O'Connell. We also see James Butcher, Andrew Ranger on pit road, a whole bunch of guys just making sure they can get to the end.
And looking to see if they can patch up the nose of that 32 car here after they do the tires. A.J. Allmendinger saving fuel, leading laps here at Road America.
I'm going to wear you out. You're going to get tired of hearing it, but I'm going to keep talking about saving fuel here. And I'll never get tired of your voice. It's like angels coming down from heaven.
AJ's been having a good time here this weekend, and why not? He's leading the race.
Endings at Road America. You can run out of patience, out of room, out of time, out of sheet metal, even out of gas. The last restart could be your finish. At race end, chaos is the norm.
Will it be the case again today here at Road America as we come to a restart that'll happen with 11 laps to go? Recent history, NASCAR Nationwide Series road course racing says we haven't had the last yellow yet.
Look, I'm not trying to jinx these guys or anything, but I'm like a normal race fan. I want to see some good action, and I guarantee you, these cats are going to crash late.
32 cars on the lead lap. A.J. Allmendinger now with Billy Johnson to his outside for this restart. No question, the 2 fastest cars and drivers in this race lined up 1 and 2. Kenny Hobble got off into the grass.
Looks like he's picked up one of the signs.
Yep. The other part of it's laying on the track right below the starter stand. Let's see what happens with that.
This is where Regan Smith's got to be careful in this mess right here.
For the lead.
Oh,
off goes Allmendinger's left side tires.
It's an aggressive move by Johnson right there.
Smith now and Johnson for the lead down the hill to that tricky turn number 5.
And Smith's on the wrong side of the track for turn 5.
Right side, right before.
Johnson through to the lead. Allgaier with the preferred line for the next left-hander.
This is tough on Smith right now.
Yeah, he goes from racing for the lead for just trying to stay in the top 5. Doesn't look like he's going to do it.
We came off of turn 2 and 3, and he was just on the wrong side of the track, and it was just hard to get back over in the preferred side.
Yellow flag for the debris on the front stretch. The other half of that sign that's on the nose of Kenny Hobble's car is laying right there on the track, right in the lane, under the starter stand.
Can't imagine that Kenny Hobble's not going to melt that engine down.
Yeah, that's called, we talk about blocking a car off to qualify
That's
it.
blocked off.
It's blocked off there. A lot of cars out there, about the first 12 it looks like, stopped on lap 31. They're going to need these cautions to make it to the end, because I predict maybe a couple of these green-white checkers, they're going to need some extra fuel to make it to the end if that happens.
So watch on the restart as the 75 car gets off driver's left.
Oh my, how did that happen?
That was it. Looked like he just anticipated the start and then ran up on the back of the car in front of him.
Yeah.
Then the tussle for the lead got a little interesting too. He has a sausage on the grill there. The sausage sign on the grill of his car.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah. Work with me here, you know?
Well, you can see some of the cars not knowing exactly where they're supposed to line up because of where the caution came out. So NASCAR will have to make the call. See, Pastrana has a lot of damage on the front of his car.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's too bad, because he
needs to come down pit road.
Travis had a good run going today. He looked strong on the racetrack.
Oh, that's too bad, too. You can see how far up in the lineup he was.
I am guessing that he did not get the word the yellow flag was out when a lot of those guys in front of him did.
But sheared the top of that nose right off, right over top of the radiator.
Right, slow down, turn in right here. Right there. Beat the hood down, guys, so
well inside the top 10.
You're going to need that product called Bear Bond to glue that hood back down, tape it back down. And it's amazing how it went right over top of the radiator, Andy. It didn't get it. It barely cleared it.
Well, the lead changed hands on that last restart. Billy Johnson went from the outside to the inside in turn 3, squeezed by Allmendinger. And then after Regan Smith got shuffled, the caution came out for the debris. More to come. 10 to go, Road America, the Johnsonville Sausage 200 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and the pot beginning to boil a little bit here as the lead has changed hands. Some positions have been shuffled, and a couple of race cars have been wrinkled up, all in one lap of racing after that last restart. So Travis Pastrana's car and the car of Jeremy Clements wrinkled up when it appears they might not have gotten the word the caution was coming out.
Yeah, the intensity level's kind of picked up. You can see over here on the right side of the track where the caution flag was waving. A lot of guys still racing.
Crunch and crunch. Shannon?
Yeah, guys, that's exactly what Travis Pastrana said on the radio after that happened. He said, no one told me the caution came out. I didn't check up. And this is just a tough break for Travis because it was really looking like it could be the feel-good story of the race. He had moved his way up into the top 10 after starting in the back because he flat-spotted some tires in qualifying. The season has been very tough, and it was looking like a good run for this team.
Yep. And now Travis is going to find himself pretty well back in the running order.
You just got to stay tough. I saw him in the airport the other day after the race in Iowa, and he looked like he just lost his most favorite friend. He was just really down, beating himself up big time. And this bad luck's going to stop, but I tell you every now and then, I see snapshots of greatness, and I saw a really good run out of him today.
There's no damage to the car. The car is great, other than cosmetic. 10-4, we're going to put some new tires on it here. You're going to need all you can get.
He's run good many times this year. I know he can do it.
Well, he's still got a lot of racing left to do today at Road America. 9, what should be very interesting laps left. Anybody missing a tire? So, in that one lap of racing on the last restart, A.J. Allmendinger found himself shuffled from the race lead back to 4th place after some hard-nosed racing for the lead down through turns 1 and 2. Here's a look back at it. Billy Johnson in the 16.
2 cars, you're all clear.
Billy just got that preferred line on the inside, roughed him up a little bit, got him off course. Off Johnson went.
And then this on the 22 radio.
16, he's getting it, okay? That's what happens here. Don't let him drag you into it. Here's your plan.
Well, it sounds like his plan is for the 16 to get it. Yeah. On the race leader, Billy Johnson, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, a few weeks ago, Ford Motor Company sent all their drivers out to Miller Motorsports Park in Utah to have Billy Johnson, the guy who's leading our race, teach them some aggressive road racing tactics. How about that? One of the things he taught them was how to make it tough for a guy to pass you, even if he's faster. The other lesson he taught them, how to make a pass on a car in front of you if he's running the same speed by taking his line away, by positioning your car where he can't be fast anymore. Aggressive tactics Billy Johnson was teaching, and today he's using it. As you heard a moment ago, listening to A.J. Allmendinger, when he catches the 16, stay tuned.
Yeah, it sounds like Billy Johnson practices what he preaches. They got a fast car, though.
They've told me payback's a son of a gun.
Well, here comes the chance. Allmendinger, driver's left, row 2, with Justin Allgaier in front of him and Brian Vickers to his inside. Billy Johnson, the race leader, as we get set for 8 laps to go here at Road America. Allmendinger got 3rd from Brian Vickers, now looking for 2nd on Justin Allgaier. And to stay in contact with Johnson in the 16, downhill to turn 5.
Look at
this could be big.
There he goes.
Inside,
he got him in the back.
Inside, outside,
back.
outside, clear.
Justin Allgaier through to the lead.
I'm impressed at how he did it. He did it on the outside of Justin Allgaier, made it all the way to the leader to dump him. That was pretty impressive.
I thought it was pretty impressive. He did it in half a lap. Got to him fast.
Man means what he says, doesn't he?
He does.
Oh, around Max Pappas. In traffic, look out. Wow. From 4th place.
Keep going.
Well, turn 6 and turn 7 proved a little tricky for Max Pappas, who was running in 4th place.
Billy Johnson got in real hot, couldn't stop, and just took out past Pappas. That was going down into turn 8.
Justin Allgaier, winner of last season's final road course race for the NASCAR Nationwide Series up in Montreal, now has what has been one of the 2 or 3 fastest cars in the race all day on his back bumper in the closing laps. And Allmendinger looking inside, down the hill to turn 1.
That was a fake out right there. You want to see if Justin was going to take it. He didn't go for it.
I think Allgaier drove it down in there, though.
Just like he did with the move where he got the lead.
You see that? He keeps faking him. Trying to get out of the driver's view, thinking he's inside when he's really not. It's close to him now. Now he can try it again.
Allgaier with a defensive line.
Hard to make that work, though.
Inside clear, clear.
But how about a crossover?
Look at that move. That's a classic road race ace move right there.
What a pass.
A late turn in.
Allmendinger to the lead.
Candy, I was watching AJ, and it looked like he was really doing those IndyCar late turn-ins, staying way out, making a late turn-in, really picking that throttle apart off the corner. And somehow he's got this stock car able to do that.
That was a beautiful pass he made. Took 2 corners to make it work, but it looked like that's the way he planned it. I mean, he just drove in on the outside to get the angle.
Travis Pastrana with more trouble. But gets it going, and we stay under green. Brian Vickers, what a drive in this 20.
Yeah, we talked about all the problems for the Gibbs cars, and they had their share too on pit road with a missing lug nut. Had to overcome that penalty. Got a fast car though right now, Mike.
Yeah, it's a great car, and they think they've got enough fuel to go at least the distance of regulation. Kevin Kidd came over the radio not too long ago saying they think they also have enough fuel for 1 green-white checker. Beyond that, though, they are a little bit concerned. This was kind of the run that Kevin Kidd was anticipating. Remember what Vickers did last year? A lot of road course racing in Europe, including races at Le Mans and Spa. Well, Kidd told me he benefited greatly from that, especially in his vision, his anticipation, and his timing. He could be just waiting to make his move, guys.
Now still plenty of racing to go. 6 laps around a 4-mile track as Vickers works on Justin Allgaier for 2nd place.
Car looks really solid. I think Allgaier knows he's there.
Starting to say Vickers is working him. There's no doubt about that. And that gets in a driver's head. When you look in the rearview mirror and you see that guy that close to your bumper, you find yourself blocking and looking in a mirror more than you do driving a car.
See a little paper on the nose of that 22 car.
Yeah, I do see that. I don't know if that's causing him any problem or not, but it's definitely there.
Nope, Johnny O'Connell. Down the hill at turn 5. Didn't work out. He was 14th. Well, want to see if a caution comes out again and Billy Johnson gets another shot at Allmendinger, or Vickers gets a shot at all of them. Oh, Jeremy Clements.
That's going to bring out a yellow.
Hey, we're off.
There's the caution just now.
Oh, Alan, I'm telling you what.
Oh, boy.
We know what's going to happen now.
Here we go.
Here we go. Late in the race, and our stats just said within 6 laps to go, we keep getting these cautions, and we just got another one. Now we're getting into fuel mileage issues. Guys really freaking out about not having enough fuel.
Jeremy Clements there off at turn number 7 and into the tire barrier. And the yellow flag erases A.J. Allmendinger's advantage that he'd worked to build up on Justin Allgaier and Brian Vickers and Billy Johnson.
He had to know it was coming, though. This is just the way these races seem to turn out on a road course.
Yep.
But shut it off. Save all you can. Great job.
Everybody kind of plays nice for the first half, maybe 3/4 of the race.
He's got some leaves there and a hunk of something.
Yeah, he's definitely got
plenty of grill opening.
Yeah, he's got plenty of opening.
Yep.
Shouldn't cause him a problem.
But just after you did all that work to get away from the guy and get the lead back and so on, now you got to do it again.
I got a feeling A.J. Allmendinger's going to be looking in the rearview mirror to find out where Billy Johnson's at.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where he's going to be at. He's going to be in the same spot that Allmendinger was versus Johnson on the last restart. One row behind him, opposite lane. Saving fuel. Trying to figure out how it's going to play in the final 5 laps of this one. Caution out for Jeremy Clements into the tire barrier. Still working caution here at Road America with 5 laps to go. What should be a frantic final 4 laps on the way. Don't go away, especially after what we've seen since the last couple of restarts when the lead has changed hands a couple of times with some pushing and some shoving and some hard feelings generated out here on the track. Here's your leader, A.J. Allmendinger. The Dinger was leading for the restart that came with 11 laps to go. But then Billy Johnson came calling in that white and black and blue number 16 car, along with Justin Allgaier and others.
So Johnson sails it down in there, just kind of runs the 22 car. A.J. out in the grass, roughs him up a little bit. Now Allmendinger loses about 4 positions right there.
Then the favor was paid back after the restart with 8 to go. Allgaier went by along with Allmendinger. Allmendinger eventually passing Allgaier for the lead, bringing us to where we are now. Pit road open here. Doesn't look like any takers. Why should there be? Note coming past you as the top 10 trickle by, that 54 car of Owen Kelly. Remember, had the problem where after leading some of this race and being basically one of the 3 cars that have dominated the day, ran out of fuel while running second in this race and went all the way back to 32nd place.
Yeah, and I watched his lap times leading up to this caution. He was really one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Still got some work to do, though. But he's got 4 laps to go. Still a little bit of time, maybe even extra.
How about it, Dave?
And this coming in a car that, really had few hiccups today other than that fuel mileage calculation issue. And think about all the communication that they've gone through to get Owen in this car. Remember, he was living down in Australia this time of year, so a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls back and forth to get things set up for him. And he was just fitted for that seat last week, and the pedals adjusted this weekend as he was fitted into the race car. So they've done well in their communication. They probably have a few notes on their fuel mileage calcs now, but has made his way finally back up to the top 10.
And right behind him, Regan Smith, the championship leader, who got knocked around a little bit on this last couple of stretches of racing after these last 2 restarts. He finds himself now back in 8th.
Yeah, 10 bar. Just hang in there, bud. We're sitting 7th here and save a little bit of fuel. 8th, actually. Road racing takes no driving ability, it just takes slamming ability. Yeah, 10 bar. That's why we got to be smart.
Well, obviously he's been on the bad end of a lot of the beating and banging, and I guess when you're a lot of the guys racing around him, you also know he's the one with the most to lose.
Yeah, you're not really caring too much about him. He's got a big point lead right now, and it's not like we're going into Homestead for the last race. They want to get him while he's weak. You can tell he's rattled just a little bit.
Mike?
And catching up with Brian Vickers, crew chief Kevin Kidd, in it's crunch time. It's always difficult to make your way up through these last couple of positions. What are you telling Brian now as he tries to make up these last 2 spots and pick up the win here today?
Oh, I don't have to tell Brian anything. He's professional. He's been doing this a long time. He's been in these positions before. Really, we're just going to let him go do his job. He does it well. I expect to have a good finish here.
Fuel, that's always a concern up and down pit road. How are you guys?
Well, not spectacular by any means, but we're good to regulation. Green, white checkers. I feel like we can handle one of those right now. This caution might put us into 2. Anything more than that's probably going to be tough.
It's going to be interesting, Doc.
It will be. Let's check in with Jeremy Bullens here. First of all, the physical contact. What are you anticipating on this restart?
Well, it's going to be a little bit crazy here. Hopefully we can get a good start and get ahead of it all, and it'll all be behind us. That's what we really need to happen. What about the fuel mileage? We were talking a moment ago. You could go to the checkered flag. What about 1 green, white checkered? Yeah, I think we'd be good for 1. Much past 1, it'll get a little sketchy, but hopefully we'll get this thing knocked out here pretty quick and get this Discount Tire Mustang in victory lane. All right, Jeremy Bullens. And by the way, AB, just a moment ago, they told his driver, Allmendinger, he need to stay away from the 16, hopefully in front of him.
Yeah, well, that's the trick, is to get away. Now, if you're a Penske fan, you won't like to see this, but the fact is, in the last 4 NASCAR Nationwide Series road course races, guys that have been passed for the lead in the end of the race, the last lead change.
You're right. Don't show that to Allmendinger.
I know.
Trying to jinx those guys.
I'm just saying they've got great cars and they're contending for the win every time. It just hasn't worked out for them yet. Is that better?
That's good. That's good.
So it's going to be Allmendinger, Allgaier, and Vickers, the top 3.
Anyone near the 31 spotter? Let him know that if he blocks me again, it's not going to work out for him.
Here we go. And of course, Brian Vickers will be trying to keep Justin Allgaier from getting over to that right side lane as they make right-hand turn 1 and trying to get second spot from him there. And then there's Billy Johnson in the 16, lined up in the exact spot that Allmendinger was prior, when Allmendinger came through and found a way to exert his influence on the race for the lead.
Well, I can guarantee you, those top 4 guys, none of them are afraid of putting a bumper to each other. I'll never forget a long time ago when Brian Vickers got in the back of Tony Stewart out in Sonoma. Bob put him out of the ballpark. That was unbelievable. Those two were roughing each other up for a long time. That kind of caused all that. But Vickers, he's got a temper on him too now. He's not scared. If he told me, hey, if you block me, I'm going to spin you out, I'd believe him.
All take now. No give and take.
That's right.
That's right. Pace cars off. 3 laps to go in regulation at Road America. Allmendinger in command of the restart with Allgaier to his outside.
He's got to get through the gearbox, Allmendinger does. Needs to have a John Force restart.
Green, 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 green.
Right side, hold still, right side, right.
Little contact, Allgaier pushed wide, here's Vickers to his inside. Can't make it stick. Michael Annette, a great restart, racing Billy Johnson for 4th. Regan Smith in the middle of it as well in the red 7.
Cannot believe they got through that turn without getting off course.
Into the back of Kelly, into the back of Smith, into the back of Johnson.
Keep coming.
Road America chaos.
Man, Johnson ran good all day long, only lose it with 3 laps to go. AJ's just got to hit his marks now, just really drive smooth like he's done most of the day.
Yeah, what AJ needs is no cautions, but the way this thing is developing out, I'm sure that we've seen the last one.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's fast, though.
Caution is out.
You can see how this stacked up. You see Kligerman gets into the back of Owen Kelly, into the back of Smith, into the back of Billy Johnson, and all of them involved.
Yeah, the first Johnson, Regan Smith didn't do anything wrong. Let's watch this again. Saw the 7 of Smith get hit from behind and knocked into Johnson right there.
And I'm sure that Regan Smith has no idea where it started, which was actually with the 77.
And there is the cause of the caution. John Young is off. Driver's right between turns 5 and 6. And obviously, with all the contact we've seen going in between those two corners today, that's a bad spot to leave a car.
Yeah, and this is going to extend the race.
Yes, it is.
All these crew chiefs are nervous right now. They said they can handle one green, white checker restart, where they're going to have one right here. But I'm afraid that's not the last one. I'm not trying to jinx them, Alan.
Yeah, crew chiefs are up on the box, and they said nothing we can do. We just have to let it play out.
You just point out the facts.
Yeah.
And people think you're trying to jinx somebody.
Those crew chiefs need to go ahead and, they just need to go ahead and pull all their hair out right now.
Well, as nice a job as A.J. Allmendinger did getting away from Justin Allgaier and Brian Vickers on that last restart, he's got to do it again, at least one more time.
You can see Kligerman maintained the 4th position. He's got damage on the front of the car.
And after driving a great race all day, staying on the track, keeping the car clean, with 3 laps to go, Dave, 7's got a lot of damage.
And as usually happens, the other guys that were...
Make sure.
Yeah, we're listening to Greg Ives right there telling the crew what to do. They do want to check under the hood, maybe, just make sure nothing's pinched on the radiator or anything close there. But basically tape it up, get them to the end of this race, and salvage what they can.
And that's a heartbreaker for those guys. And
Bear on the nose there, guys. Let's get up at the...
And a big swing in the championship. Despite the fact that Sam Hornish had his problems earlier in the race, Justin Allgaier's running 2nd, and with Regan Smith now with the damage that he has and being on the pit lane in 33rd position for the moment, what was a 58-point lead could become 27.
Yeah, you can see how big a swing that was. Sam Hornish was the one that was back outside the top 30 not that many laps ago. Here he is in 7th place, and now Regan Smith has problems. But guess what? This thing still has time to turn again.
That's what I mean.
Everybody back over the wall. That's not a pit crew member. Go. All right. Now go change it to the left side.
Greg Ives, the right-hand man for Chad Knaus. And Jimmy Johnson, and sounding just like it, instructing his pit crew to calmly get that championship-leading car repaired. Well, once this green flag waves, you can pretty well figure on that place, turn 5, being the spot where chaos, mayhem, and all sort of hard feelings break out, because it's been that way the last couple of years here, and it's certainly been the trouble spot today.
Well, it's such a long straightaway leading down to it. They got a lot of straightaway speed, and they just can't get the doggone thing stopped enough. They get real aggressive, thinking that's a good spot to pass. It always ends up in a crash.
It really is. That straightaway leading into this corner, very steeply downhill. So in addition to trying to outbrake somebody and pass them, you've got the momentum of that added speed coming down the hill and how that affects your braking.
Well, you hit the brakes and the rear of the car tries to flip over the front tires. You know? And if you're downhill braking, it's just a wrong scenario. You know, long straightaway like we talked about.
Yeah.
And if you don't think we're right about what we said, it always happens there, right, Andy?
Yep. And you see Parker Kligerman, he's staying on the track with the damage on the hood.
And remember, he was the one that got into that corner a little too hot and knocked 4 of them ahead of him together. And it was the result of Regan Smith getting turned around and getting the damage he did, the championship leader.
Tell you what, there's just so many guys in trouble right now in fuel, in my opinion. Actually, Sam Hornish back there in 7th position. He's the one who's got the best when it comes to fueling back, but so many cars are pitted on lap 31 are out there. Our 4th place car, Kligerman, pitted on with lap 33. He's got a little extra fuel than the rest of the guys, but I tell you, that top 5's in trouble.
And in 2011 here, we went through all 3 attempts at the green-white checker finish. And instead of the race being the 50 laps it was scheduled for, it wound up taking 57 to get it done.
And a lot of guys ran out of fuel.
Yep.
And I keep remembering that.
Pit road and Mike.
Catching up with Parker Kligerman's crew chief Eric Phillips. They initially stopped on lap 31, came in 2 laps later to top off, and that may put you in a pretty good position. How good are you on fuel? How far can you go?
We can go to 53 right here, so what, 4 more laps. Guys have done a good job. We got behind. We haven't got great fuel mileage all weekend, so we've been behind the 8 ball a little bit, but everybody's done a good job. Parker's done a good hell of a job to get back up there where we're at. Hate that for some of them guys up there. I think we probably got in there a little hot and got in the back a couple of them, but hell, it happened to us earlier, and that's how we got in the position we were in. But just thank everybody on this Toyota Camry and everybody from Nationwide Insurance and NASCAR for putting this on. It's one of the first racetracks I ever come to as a kid. Grew up a couple hours south of here, and it's pretty cool.
Certainly would be a feel-good moment here in the 77 camp, Doc.
Let's check in with Scott Zipadelli calling it for Justin Allgaier. Scotty, first fuel mileage. Can you guys make it the next 3 laps or so? You got enough?
Yeah, we got enough for one green-white checkered. Beyond that, we're not even looking.
How about race car? Do you have enough race car and experienced driver to get by the 22?
Yeah, really proud of Justin and the whole Brandt team. The cars performed great since we unloaded. We did have to make some changes this morning. Went off my notes, but pit crew's done awesome. He's done awesome. Yeah, we got a shot at it. You know, if he screws up on a restart, I think we can get him. But, you know, you got to look behind us, too. The 20 asked us if we'd pull over for him and let him pass, but that's not the way it works.
All right, attack and defend for the 31.
Justin Allgaier telling us earlier in the weekend that one of his mentors in learning how to road racing was Ron Fellows.
So in 2009, my first road race was Montreal, and I had gone out to Ron Fellows driving school, and he taught me how to road race. And in the race, I ended up wheel hopping down into one of the corners, destroyed both of our cars. And Ron, even though he was aggravated, graciously taught me how to fix wheel hop, because that was one of the things we didn't go over in the class, and has been a great mentor on road racing for me ever since.
Well, Justin getting over the initial sheepishness of that situation to do Ron proud today here, running second as we come to the first green-white checkered finish attempt.
We're going to have to start including Justin as one of the favorites on the road course.
Yep.
He seems to wind up front. He ran out of fuel leading here a couple years ago.
So here we go, 34 cars on the lead lap. We'll wave the green flag, they'll race a lap. If they make it back to the white flag, the next flag ends the race, be it caution or checkered. Allmendinger, the inside lane for turn 1. Allgaier to his outside, Vickers behind him, and now Kligerman on the outside of row number 2. What's it going to be this time? And oh, by the way, don't forget turn 5.
Yeah, I'm going to be surprised if they make it past turn 5. You're talking about making it to the white flag.
Yeah. Here we go.
Green, 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 green.
Sam Hornish continuing to rally from problems earlier in the race, being aggressive in these late laps. 12 car.
See the back bumper on Owen Kelly's car flapping. He got some contact maybe on that restart.
Contacted the stack up earlier. Here they come, turn 5 again. What's it going to be this time? They got through it.
Yeah, through turn 1 and through turn 5, those are the 2 worst turns. They did good through them.
Good contact there. Michael Annett going around. And more behind him. Max Pappas is spun. Brendan Gaughan, 21, with a nose full of grass. Michael Annett is trying to fire his car and drive it away from turn 7. For the moment, he's not moved.
Forward, I can't get out. I can go backwards, but not forward.
Caution is out.
Full force caution's out.
All right, boys, that's 2 green-white checkers.
Well, they didn't get back to the white flag. It sets up the second green-white checker. Scott Zipadelli said, I don't even want to think about the second one on fuel. Now what's going to happen?
More aggression, people running out of gas. tempers flying, and a possible fight after the race. It's actually 2 wrecks that time. See Max Pappas almost out of the frame there, and Michael Annett. I really don't think those are both related at all. I think they're just too far apart. Both, everybody going for it. With Annett spinning, I don't think that caused Pappas to have his issue.
Owen Kelly in the 54 involved there. I was trying to see if he was getting pushed from behind in that to make it a chain reaction, but I couldn't really.
He had Kyle Larson really up on his rear bumper.
Yeah.
He could have gotten a push in there.
Couldn't tell cleanly. And now for Jeremy Bullins. Save fuel, save fuel, save fuel. The message he's passing on to Allmendinger, no doubt.
And who's done the best job of doing it? I mean, those crew chiefs have got to be preaching that to those drivers all the time. We heard earlier, A.J. Elmer's crew chief saying, save fuel, don't get mad at me. And A.J.'s like, I won't. Just keep telling me.
Yeah, you can only do so much. You see him shutting the cars off, trying to coast around, but it takes a certain amount of energy to get that car all the way around the racetrack. So you're going to have to use some fuel and caution.
You got to get that thing turned off as you go into turn 1 and coast all the way to the bottom.
I'll get another look at this and see if Michael Annett. All right, there's some contact there with the 54.
It's like it's just a little bit of a stack up. It kind of starts with Annett getting out of shape, and then nobody cutting him a break.
You know what? I'll just call that what we come to expect in the last laps on these road courses.
Yeah, I would too. I wouldn't blame that on anybody. Just call that hard racing here at Road America, and just a couple laps to go.
Doesn't mean Michael Annett's going to like it.
No.
It just is what you expect. And that's tough that he can't get that car refired and finish the race.
We've seen this year after year, and I know these drivers all know it. They go into this last part of the race here knowing they're going to get beat around. They're trying to hold their composure together.
Well, car shut off. Allmendinger trying to save as much fuel as he can, Doc.
You know, when the caution came out a moment ago, Jeremy Bullins there climbing down the ladder, and the entire team, everyone's heads dropped down, their shoulders dropped down. They knew that they were in serious trouble here in terms of fuel. They told Allmendinger, they had told him you should be okay for one green, white checkered. I think they were even a little bit worried at that. And now they've told him minimal fuel usage, minimal fuel. And they said, don't worry, let's not worry about it, though. Let's go out there, focus, and be patient, and basically be relaxed and do the best you can. If you can just get back to the white flag, we'll have a shot. This is a road course. If we can run one lap to the white flag and something will happen, we should be okay. Dave?
Doc, we're catching up with Greg Irwin, crew chief for Sam Hornish, who's made a nice rally here. It would appear that you'd be okay on fuel, but how are you on handling chaos out there?
We're good on fuel. Crew chief didn't really do the right thing when it come to winning the race there. About lap 30, I played it a little safe, anticipating several green-white checkers. Problem is we've gotten so many yellow flags between then and now that I think most of these guys in front of us are okay. I mean, we knew Sam was going to be able to come through most of the pack. I think right now he's just got to have his eyes open, and we've got a lot of good spotter help. But this is, it's what the fans come to see. They like this good, close racing, and right now I'm hoping it wouldn't bother me if we got another one.
Does the car itself have any weaknesses right now? Any damage, anything that he's complaining about?
We had a little rub about 30 laps ago on the left rear, the quarter panels, the bumpers knocked in just a little bit, but the brakes have been solid, transmission's been solid, everything in the car. We've got all the gears, and we're just going to see what we can get out of it.
See how far forward Sam can go. Alan?
All right, Dave. Everybody trying to save fuel, save fuel, save fuel. Reminds me of the race here a couple of years ago when we had the extended finishes and people were running out of gas everywhere. One of them was Justin Allgaier, who was leading the race under caution and ran out of fuel.
Yeah, I mean, even if they take the white flag on this green-white checker, you still have to drive the car around under caution, and Justin Allgaier wasn't able to do that.
Reed Sorensen, feeling under the weather that day, nonetheless took home the trophy. Willie G there.
Got him a Harley Davidson out of the deal.
Yep. And so we find Allgaier again contending for the win. And I just imagine he's happy for another shot at Allmendinger. But Allmendinger has just got to be sitting there saying, won't this thing ever end?
I know.
I've got this thing won. I've had it won twice. Won't it ever end?
And it's kind of a double-edged sword for Allgaier. He's worried about running out of fuel, too.
I know you are.
Run second.
Keep at it.
Tell you what, you got to hand it to A.J. Allmendinger, though. I mean, this guy can drive the wheels off of anything. Look what he did in the Indianapolis 500. How strong he ran on an Indy car. How strong he's running this nationwide car. And how good he ran in those Cup cars. When I think about him, it kind of reminds me of Tony Stewart, a guy that can drive anything and do well in it.
And really, Rusty, the bigger picture for A.J. Allmendinger's last 12 months. Remember, it was at Daytona last July when he was pulled out of the car for a violation of NASCAR's substance abuse program and suspended from the sport. Roger Penske had to replace him in that car, and he went through the Road to Recovery program, successfully completed it, came back to driving for James Finch in races, and did one thing led to another, proved himself again to not just the people around him in the sport, but to Roger Penske, who then stuck by him. And AJ has said over and over again, Roger stuck by me, called me every week, was the guy that gave me more support than anyone, and worked his way back into those opportunities you just talked about that he's gotten this year, including this one today.
Well, I drove for Roger for a long, long time, and when Roger gets behind you, he's behind you. Now, if you're wrong, he'll tell you you're wrong. He won't back you up too long if you're flat wrong. But if he really believes in you, and he understands the whole story, he'll stay behind you. Roger's a fantastic man.
Okay, that was lap 52 they just completed. So that's 2 laps over the scheduled distance. So they're going to get the restart with, you know, it's probably going to be, what, 6 laps over the scheduled distance if they finish under this one.
Well, most of these front runners, like Allmendinger, last pitted at lap 31. You heard Greg Irwin, Sam Hornish's crew chief, say that they've had enough caution laps that he feels like a lot of these people are going to be good to go on this second green-white checker.
Well, I bet he feels a lot more confident that they can go than the crew chiefs of those cars think they can go. We saw Jeremy Bull as he got off the pit box, started pacing.
He got off the pit box, walked away. He went to throw up is what he did.
A little nervous tension there. Let's hear from the 5th place crew chief, Doc.
That'd be Mike Kelly with Trevor Bayne, and Mike's trying to play it safe all day with fuel to be able to gain some points today. Now with the possibility that maybe 2 or 3 guys in front of you may be short on gas. Can you guys make it?
Well, right now the Valvoline Mustang's doing well. We think we've got enough fuel to run us about 6 or 7 more laps right here. So I think we should be fine. Trevor's telling me he's out there making gas with the thing, so I'm excited about that. Should be a good day. I'm hoping to get out here with a good finish, and just want to thank all our people at Ford and Roush and it's helped us get us in this position, and thank Nationwide Insurance for a good race they put on today.
So if you guys can go 6 or 7 more laps, you got to be pulling for 1 more green-white checker, which means there's not many guys in front of you can make it.
Honestly, I'd just like to see this thing get over and we'll get out of here with what we got. You know, this is a great group of guys we're racing right here. Because you never know how long the green-white checkers could last. You get one of them stuck in the kitty litter and it could run 3 or 4 laps. We could be in trouble. So if we could get this thing finished up right here and get out of here with a top 5, maybe we could have a shot here at the win. You never know with these road course races what's going to happen when they get down here with this turn down here.
Now you know how Mike Kelly won back-to-back series championships playing the fuel mileage game, and it might just pay off today for Trevor Bayne.
You know, you sit there and you look back on this top 10 and some of the drivers in great position in these final laps, and here's Cole Witt.
He's done a great job all day long. I kept watching him and said, who's driving that 44? They got that thing really flying. This is Cole Witt. And he's got that car out of trouble. It's got a couple bangs and bruises on it. But here he is, sitting there in 7th position.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that have, like Mike Wallace, he was off the track earlier. He's worked his way back up into the top 15. He's 13.
Well, you know, you get to Daytona and Talladega with the drafting and so on, and you figure that some of the teams that maybe don't normally contend for the win every week have an opportunity to get a great finish. Well, these road course races have turned into that also. An opportunity for some of the teams, if they can miss the mayhem, stay on the track and have a solid run, to gain some ground and have that great finish at the end.
Opportunity race. I mean, coming into it, we talked about this. Not many, or just one NASCAR regular guy. I don't know, not even no NASCAR regular guys in there, or Cup guys, I mean.
Yep.
And so it's a big opportunity for the nationwide regulars and the road race ringers. Owen Kelly was a guy that looked like he's going to win this race and has a problem. Runs out of fuel.
So, doubled up for the restart. It'll take him a minute to get back over here and get the green flag. 33 cars on the lead lap. Nelson Piquet Jr. just with a stop on pit road on this last lap. So A.J. Allmendinger has gotten away from Justin Allgaier a couple of times now on restarts. He got a He really lit him up last time and got away from Allgaier pretty quickly.
Yeah, he brought him down really slow the last restart and did get a real good lead, a good jump on the restart.
Can he do it again?
He's got to watch that restart zone. Yep. And really come to that gearbox again. He pushed it last time, got away with it. Didn't do anything wrong, but he took it right to the limit.
Looking at the restart order coming across your screen. A lot of stories of redemption in there today. Sam Hornish with a big rally back from 28th place. Elliott Sadler way back in the 30s earlier in this race. A.J. Allmendinger even with a rally from a mistake earlier. Now, one more shot as the second attempt of a green-white checker restart happens here with Allgaier to his outside, and this time Kligerman on his back bumper. Let's see what happens this time.
33 cars on the lead lap, so there's a lot to lose if you get run off the track.
I would say Justin had a great turn one.
Oh, Trevor Bayne is off. Andrew Ranger has spun. Was the 6 out of fuel? Down to tricky turn 5. Allmendinger and Allgaier. From pit road, it's the transmission on Trevor Bayne's car.
Restart, trying to get the rubber buildup off the tires. Takes about 3 or 4 corners. He's got it off right now. So that car's got some pretty good grip going for AJ. And he's been pulling away from Justin the whole time. I believe he can hold him off if he doesn't run out of gas.
Trevor Bayne is continuing around the course. And Allmendinger now comes to the final corner. And he'll see the white flag at the top of the hill.
He still has 4 miles to go on this fuel load, though. Still a lot of nerves.
Sorry, Andy, we are in the last lap of this race.
Okay, bud.
Does anybody run out of fuel?
One more smooth lap. One more.
He needs 1 more gallon of gas to make it back. These cars get about 4 miles to the gallon, and we got 4 miles to go.
There's the race for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Underpowered down the hill to turn 5. Sam Hornish on the move inside of Brian Vickers. And clump there. Owen Kelly gets by Vickers as well.
Boy, he's probably thinking AJ is, how can I save a little bit of fuel and still run hard, stay in front of Allgaier? It's really hard to do. But he's got to hunt for a couple spots. He's 2 miles into this last lap right now with 2 miles to go.
Owen Kelly with a move on Sam Hornish. Or tried to anyway. Looks like Sam held on. Stays in 4th. Through the kink. And now the run down through Kettle Bottoms to Canada Corner. In terms of laps led, A.J. Allmendinger has dominated this race, but he's still got a bit to go to get back to take the trophy. Kelly and Hornish going at it.
If he makes it to turn 14, Al, he's still got to climb all the way up that hill.
Cars off at Canada Corner.
Oh, there's Regan
Smith. The final climb, the checkered flag, and the win for A.J. Allmendinger at Road America. He scores for Roger Penske.
Thank you! Yeah!
He had to work hard for that one.
He did. He did a fantastic job. Drove that car so aggressive but smooth. Kept it on the course. Fantastic win for Team Penske. And A.J. Allmendinger, what a big comeback for this young guy.
Able to save enough fuel for 2 green-white checkers. Did a great job today. Did everything right. And Max is having a conversation with Billy Johnson.
I think that's you and I are going to talk when we get back around. And the championship leader. This race all went away in the final few laps.
Look who that's
from 5-time.
Leave the cameras on. Yeah, we're going to leave them on, Jimmy. Don't worry about it.
Look at the battered and bruised race cars.
Is he out of gas?
I was just about to say, he's either getting ready to do a big victory burnout or he's out of fuel. I think he's looking for space to do donuts. Yeah, it's still running. Let's see, earlier, stalled the car, leaving the pit lane.
Line him up. After this 14.
Got knocked out of the lead. Knocked somebody out of the way to get back to a chance to race for the lead. And held on through a few late restarts.
Can you imagine all the things AJ's went through? How happy this guy's got to be right now.
I'm happy for it. Great job. If you don't think he has passion for what he does, he shows it right there.
He's focused.
Nothing like winning a race, though.
No, I'm happy for him. Boys at Ford are going, it'd be easier on my motor, man.
That thing's tough, though.
Last night, while walking around the village in Elkhart Lake, some of our ESPN team were out literally getting an ice cream cone, and AJ walked by and stopped and had a conversation, and he was some kind of pumped up for this race. Huge smile on his face.
Yeah, he had a...
And Jimmy Johnson, here you go.
We got a helicopter hovering overhead here for you, Timmy.
Come on, Max, jump out of that car. Let's see what happens. Pretty calm to me, I don't know.
Well, the angry people and the happy people. Doc?
All right, we got Max Pappas. Max, very angry when you climbed out of the car. What did you say to Billy Johnson?
First of all, I apologize to all the kids. I should have not slapped him here. Should have slapped him inside there. Apologize. Just my temper got me. Just disappointed because he just ran, the 16 car just ran me out of track. When we were having a great race and we have a great race. I'm happy. The Menard Chevy was awesome. Thanks to Nationwide Insurance. And let me tell you, it was a blast. I hope I can do this more often because I'm blessed by God. Thanks a lot, guys. And thanks for the support. I love you guys. And if this was not a good show, you need to come back again.
Now, you invited him to come back for a discussion in the garage. You said you didn't want to talk about it out here on pit road. What did you say?
Sometimes this talk's a little bit better than this.
Okay. Max Pappas pretty fired up and pretty angry. Wanted Billy to come back to the garage area. Mike.
On the other side of the emotional spectrum, you find Justin Allgaier, second place, best finish of the year. In the process, you moved up to second in the standings. How would you assess the day?
I'll tell you, it's when you come here and you run second, it's so frustrating to know that we could see AJ up there. But congratulations to him. I just can't say enough for all the guys at Turner Scott Motorsports. I thought we were going to get him 3 in a row here, but came up 1 spot short. So I just can't thank all of our sponsors, all of the customers and employees at Brand Professional Agriculture. They've stood behind us and they've pushed us along, and that's been a huge part of what we do. Nationwide Insurance, everybody that comes out to these races. It was cool driving through and seeing all the fans and cheering us on, and we had enough restarts there at the end. I didn't know what to do, but just really proud of the guys. Thank God for giving me the ability to do this, and just, man, ready to go on to the next road course now.
Nice run.
Thank you.
Justin Allgaier brings it home second, Doc.
Let's get the other side of the story from Billy Johnson here. Billy, we saw Max Pappas come over and smack you on the helmet. Let's hear your side of the story.
Well, I guess I was living up to his name, Mad Max, but yeah, as far as the incident on the track goes, that was my fault. Everybody was checking up really early, and I got into the back of them. Later on, I got taken out a similar way by another guy. It's just this road course racing is pretty intense, and when cars are going 3 wide and you get an accordion effect, it sometimes has bad results. So he was on the bad side of one incident, I was on the bad side of the other, but unfortunately that's just racing, and I think he took it a little too personally.
All right, Billy Johnson, Alan, the give and take and tempers flaring at the end of this one today.
Well, like we knew there would be, Doc, a whole lot of taking and not a whole lot of giving in the last laps of this one at Road America. A.J. Allmendinger has driven into victory lane.
Guys, you could see as AJ was sitting in his car, the reality of the moment, the emotions began to hit him. AJ, after everything that you've been through over the last year, the fact that Roger Penske has continued to believe in you, as you sat in that car and realized that you're in victory lane, what kind of emotions are you feeling right now?
Trying not to be a big baby and cry on TV. I mean, it's understated what Roger's done for me. And everybody at Penske Racing, Walt Zarniak, Bud Dankner, Tim Citrick, all these guys that gave me another chance, not only to drive Indy cars, but getting this Nationwide car, this Discount Tire Ford. And man, I mean, it's for what Discount Tire does, and all the great drivers that have their drive the race car to give me the opportunity to come here and have some fun and ultimately win this thing is just unbelievable. All the sponsors that are a part of Penske Racing, Team Penske, my crew chief Jeremy, everybody gave me this car was just phenomenal. He did a good job because I was starting to get frustrated with those green-white checkers, but oh my God, Roger, if you're watching, I love you. Thank you, baby.
Now we don't have a shot, but we have your lips on the shot. Obviously, you were a man on a mission here today. You were able to overcome the fuel mileage, the battle with Johnson. What was more difficult or more challenging for you in those two?
Staying calm under the green-white checkers. The car was so fast, I just knew the first lap, all I had to do was get clear. And, I made a mistake early in the race, which actually was to my benefit because it allowed me to get behind a couple guys, see where I was stronger, where I was probably overdriving a little bit. And once I figured that out, this thing was a rocket ship, and I just wanted it to be over with. Every time I had a good restart, the one time I had to rough up Justin on the restart, but sorry, it's for my first win. It's going to happen. So it's just unbelievable. Everybody, Bell Helmets for hooking me up, Corby Concepts, Sparco for sticking with me. My parents, I love you, Mom and Dad. God, I wish you were here. All my family and friends, we're going to celebrate this. Thank you.
Congratulations. Certainly a cool moment in victory lane. Full circle event for A.J. Allmendinger. Guys.
How fun is that? A great moment today and a wild finish here at Road America as the NASCAR Nationwide Series winds down its day in the Wisconsin countryside. And next weekend, it's on to Kentucky Speedway for mile-and-a-half super speedway racing. Friday night under the lights. Join us there or at Daytona, Independence Weekend, New Hampshire, Chicagoland, Indianapolis. A lot of great racing coming up for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. What a day.
Unbelievable. I mean, we thought they had some green, white checkers, but they did. They didn't do us wrong.
Yeah, and AJ, from the pole to victory lane, he did a good job today.
Auto Plus NHRA New England Nationals qualifying from Epping, New Hampshire is coming up next. A story of redemption for A.J. Allmendinger and perseverance, not just for the last year, but today on the racetrack. And Allmendinger wins at Road America.